A man swings his sword at a monster. At this time, a young man is having dinner, and a girl next to him is watching the battle. The young man asks the man if he said that monster meat tastes good. The man agrees. He turns to Hiro, shouting for her to stop eating and help him defeat the monster. Hiro attacks the monster, causing an explosion with his word magic ability. Hiro defeats the monster and returns back. The man claims that their first enemy ended up like this monster. Hiro demands to cook food. The man asks what kind of attitude this is. The girl approaches him, calling him uncle. She says fighting is bad. The man is blinded by the girl. He says she is sweet even when she is angry. Hiro looks at his hand and thinks that he is good at fighting. Hiro thinks that this is the reason why he was summoned to this world. The boy frowns, trying to figure out where he is. The knights shout that she did it. The man turns to the princess, saying that she did it. The girl replies that she managed to summon them. 5 people sit in a circle under the gaze of people who surrounded them from all sides. The guy asks Chika if she's okay, and she asks Taishi where they are. Taishi says she doesn't know and calls out for Shuri and Shinobu. Shinobu answers, and Shuri says she's okay. The princess bows, greeting and thanking them for answering the call, calling them heroes. The princess, seeing the misunderstanding, apologizes. The princess says that His Majesty will explain all the details and asks to go to him. The girls exchange glances with each other, and Hiro walks behind them, thinking about this situation. He looks at the knights and wonders what kind of place this is. Hiro believes that they are actually in another world. The king is pleased to see the teenagers. The king says that they are confused because they pulled them out so suddenly, but asks them to calm down so that he can explain everything to them. The king says that he is the ruler of the country of Victoria and the world of Idea. His name is Rudolf Strauss Archelium. The girl says that she is a princess. Lilith. Rudolf Strauss explains that the reason they need heroes is because in order to keep Victoria safe, they need to crush the demons. He explains that Idea is inhabited by races, humans, demons, beasts, and spirits. But tensions between the races are high. The king reports that the Demon King wants to destroy humans. Princess Lilith says that they are endowed with high magical power and physical abilities, so they have no equal in battle. The princess explains that they had no chance of winning, so they resorted to hero summoning magic. She also says that such magic carries risks, since humans do not have such magical powers. The princess admits that she is glad that everything worked out this time. The king replies that he had 3 daughters. He says that 2 of his daughters attempted to perform the ritual, but one of them died and the others in a coma. Hiro wonders if he sacrificed his daughters. Taishi asks if they can protect the people of the country if they deal with the demons. The king says that it is true, and says that according to the documents, all 4 heroes are here. He looks closer and notices the 5th one. The king says it is late, but says there are 5 of them. The princess assumes that they are all heroes. Panels with their stats appear in front of the heroes. They read that their title line states that they are heroes. The princess explains to them that the words and symbols are deciphered according to their writing in their world. She says that this is done to make their communication easier. The king turns to Hiro, asking what is written on him. Hiro declares that he is not a hero. The king and princess are horrified. The king asks who he is if not a hero. The king says that he could not participate in the battles, and asks Hiro what his title is. Hiro announces that he is the Silent Observer. The princess is surprised, and the king asks again. Taishi says that everything is clear. Taishi announces that Hiro came when they were talking in another classroom. Hiro claims that everything is true, and that he is an ordinary person, and that he got involved with these people by chance. Hiro says that in other words, only these 4 were supposed to be summoned to this world, and he has nothing to do with the current situation. He asks the princess how they are going to fix this. Hiro looked at the heroes, claiming that they were also summoned only for their own benefit. He says that he is sure that their families are very worried about them. He and they are not connected in any way. The boy asks Okamura if they aren't classmates. Hiro asks if he means it's just school and claims they haven't talked since they were in the same class. Hiro assures the king that they only need 4, so he has nothing to do with it. The king asks what he plans to do. Hiro asks the king if he can return to his world. The man replies that the documents say that the Demon King knows the magic of return. The guy says that they need to take out the Demon King as soon as possible. Hirauta wonders why he needs to be taken out. The king nervously replies that it's true. The man says that their country is wonderful and they will definitely like it here. The girl admits that she is also a little worried about her family. Princess Lilith says that they have nothing to worry about. Lilith explains that all traces of their existence have been erased from their home world. The heroes ask her again in horror. The princess reassures them, saying that this is the work of a spell, and if they return, everything will be as before. Iroh assumes that everything they were told was a lie, since they must persuade them to help in any way possible. Hiiro realizes that he won't be able to return to his world now, and decides that he doesn't mind. He remembers moments from his life in that world, and reflects on the fact that it makes no difference to him where he lives. Taishi states that they will do it. Chika agrees, saying that the four of them have played many MMORPGs together. The king exclaims that they all agree to take on the task. Iroh apologizes, saying that he will go his own way. Hiiro immediately refuses, claiming that he has no obligations to this country, so he has no need to fight, since he is not a superhero like them. He notes that this world is quite different from his own, and asks the king if it would be a problem for him to spend his time as he pleases. Hiiro bids farewell to his classmates, but Taishi yells at him to wait. Taishi grabs Hiiro's hand and asks him how he can even call himself a man. Taishi says that the people of this country have bowed their heads, hoping for them. He asks Hiiro if he thinks it's worth at least trying to help them a little. Hiiro frees his hand and says he doesn't think so. Taishi is surprised by his words, and Chika tells him to leave him alone, assuring him that they don't need him. Shiri points out that this may seem like a game, but it is still reality, meaning he will actually have to risk his life. She says that they are all heroes, but Okamura is an ordinary person. He should consider what kind of situation he is in now. Taishi agrees, saying that they will do everything themselves. Hiiro replies that he wishes them luck then. Lilith runs up to Hikrel and says she's very sorry. Hiiro tells her not to worry and leaves. Hiiro walks around the city. He decides that, first of all, he should gather information using the basics of RPG. The boy looks at his statistics. He notices word magic. He realizes that he has no idea what this undefined magic is, and decides to find out for himself little by little. He believes that he needs money first. He remembers that one way to make money in RPGs is to search through the shelves of other people's houses, but decides that sounds dangerous. He thinks about another way, killing monsters or doing quests. Hiiro thinks about what it means. He needs to join a guild. Besides, he is not sure that his information about this world is correct. Iroh looks at her and assumes she is a fortune teller. The hooded man approaches him, asking if he wants to know his fate. Hiiro replies that he has no money. The old woman laughs and says that she thinks he wants to ask her something. The hero refuses, arguing that he has no money. The old lady points at him, saying that he is from another world. She asks if she is right. The old woman asks if he came from another world. Hiiro asks again. She laughs, telling him not to make such a face at him as if she had found out his worst secret. Hiiro decides that he is not at all interested in what she predicts. Iroh sits down and thinks that she guessed correctly, that he is from another world. He thinks that this old woman can give good advice. And besides, if her fortune-telling is a form of magic, then he has more reason to listen to her. The fortune-teller is surprised and tells him that he has a strange star fate. Hiiro asks why it is strange. The old woman explains to him that in the hearts of all people there are their stars, and their color, shape, and strength of glow depend on the person. She says that his is dark blue, which suppresses the fiery red emanating from its depths, and its shape is a perfect sphere. The representative admits that she has never met such a strong star, although she has seen many of them. The old woman says that he has already acquired new wings, and they will grow wide, strong, and warm to everyone and everyone. And those who are looking for such wings will most likely reach out to his light. Hiiro stops her, saying that this is unnecessary. He admits that he prefers to be alone. The old woman replies that this is just one of an infinite number of possible futures. Hiiro thanks her for the information and says goodbye. She replies that it is not worth it, because she is glad that she met a person, a sidelight, whom she has not seen for a long time. The old woman tells that once, when she was very young, she met a traveler between worlds who looked like him. Hiro is surprised and realizes that this is not the first time someone has come to this country from another world. The fortune teller says she's always here, so stop by if you need anything. But next time, you'll have to pay. The young man called the fortune teller cunning, and then said that until the next time came, he had one more question. He asks her if there are guilds in this world. Hiro comes to the guild and looks around, thinking that this world is like a game. The guild member approaches him, thanking him for waiting. She says that his assignment is already ready, so she returns his multipass. The employee informs him that if he cancels the task for any reason, he will have to pay a cancellation fee of 10,000 Reigans and asks him to remember this. He reads his assignment about collecting the lottery plant and decides that if he fails it by dying, he will have more problems than not having enough money. The girl asks if he knows what the lottery plant looks like, and he says he doesn't. The employee is looking for the lottery plant in the book, and Hiro is already losing patience. A guild member tells Hiro to be careful. Hiro notes that, like the stats window, he can materialize it and make it disappear, and finds it convenient. At the Asavit Plateau, Hiro collected a bag of Loterian plants. Hiro reflects that this task is easier than he thought. He decides to check his stats window. Hiro says that he has understood the meaning of magic, but he is curious about what that damaged inscription at the very end means. He decides to give it a try. He remembers the fortune teller's words that magical blood comes from blood, so when he uses magic, he must concentrate on its flow. He realizes that it is time to write the symbol and asks what to write. Hiro wrote the symbol on the rock, meaning split. The inscription begins to glow, and an explosion occurs. The rock was split by Hiro's magic. The young man approaches the rock, examines it, and says that it is incredible, but it has split into two halves. The rock is restored back, and Hiro looks at his finger, saying that it is a cheat, and it is even better than he imagined. She replies that such things happen. The fortune teller says that magic of indeterminate origin is unique. She wants to ask something, but Hiro interrupts her, asking what she means by calling magic unique. The old woman replies that this magic is powerful, but only a few people have it. She explains that one of the reasons is that a large number of people with magic cannot control it. She adds that they die from the recoil, and Hiro is surprised. He reflects that this was what led to the death of the first two princesses. The old lady says that they suffer from recoil because they did not fully understand what it was. Hiro asks if he will become a first-class mage if he masters magical power, magic, and his own knowledge. He says that he is truly grateful to that old woman, because thanks to her, he can be careful with his magic. The young man notices that 2 uses took away half of his MP, and because of this, his body became heavier. He assumes that his high MP is an advantage as a traveler. Hiro thinks that this is a good thing, but it means that under normal circumstances, thoughtless use can be dangerous. He takes his bag and says that since he is level 1, with his max MP, he can use it 4 times and decides that he needs to level up faster. Hiro hears a rustling sound and looks around worried if he was seen. He thinks that if the king finds out about this, he will be in trouble. There is a slime next to him, which he quickly recognizes. The slime attacks Hiro, but he manages to dodge it. Hiro asks if he will have to fight it. The slime attacked him and attacked his stomach. He stands up, saying that it actually hurts. He looks at his stat panel and notices that he has lost 3 HP. Hiro realizes that if he gets hit 7 more times, he will die. The slime is already attacking him, but the boy says that he will not give up so easily. The boy uses word magic, activating it. The hero notices that the slime uses the same move twice. There is a big explosion and flames flare up. Hiro looks at the blast site and is amazed that he can create something out of nowhere. He says that he got something incredible. He says that he checked the range by writing a word on the ground and decides that it is time to go back. Hiro decides to look at his experience. He sees that his experience is 2 and decides that next time he will kill monsters without using magic. Hiro, look at your soup. He thinks about the food finally arriving. He remembers what is called the incredibly addictive seafood noodles. He calmly tries his noodles and opens his eyes in surprise. He says the broth is full of seafood, but it goes down his throat smoothly and quickly. He grabs the noodles and sees that there is something else mixed in them. He tastes the noodles. Hiro feels like he's been kissed by a fish. He realizes that it was fish. Hiro realizes that it really is seafood noodles and that it can be addictive. He leaves the cafe and reflects on the fact that his HP and MP have been fully restored and that his body feels unusually light. Hiro decides that it's time to look for a hotel to stay overnight, and from tomorrow onwards to focus on earning money and leveling up. The next day, in the forest of Korya, he cuts the slime. The slime spreads, and Hiro receives a notification. He sees that he is level 3 and decides that he is doing well in leveling up. Someone hiding in the trees looks at Hiro, who says that there is only slime in the forest, and the goblins he needs are still not there. He says that he has already gotten used to handling weapons, but is already tired of slime. Suddenly, someone attacks him from above. Hiro manages to dodge and says that it was close. The goblin stands in front of him and Hiro says that he has appeared after all. The monster swings, attacking Hiro. The boy blocks his blow with his sword. Hiro kicks him, pushing him away. He wants to attack him, thinking that he is going to continue living in this world. He apologizes to him and tells him to be his first step. He looks at the monster's body and claims that it is not pleasant. A crowd of monsters approaches him. The young man realizes that they found him by the sounds of battle. Hiro decides that they are just what he needs to test something. The monsters attack him, and Hiro uses word magic. He writes the symbol of needles on the floor, and they pierce the monsters. The remaining monsters surround Hiro. The young man shouts that he foresaw this development and transfers magic into the sword. With magic, he extends his sword and spins, cutting through monsters. Hiro looks at the slain monsters and says that this is not a sight for the faint of heart. He claims that they are monsters, but such a massacre is still horrific. Hiro looks at his shaking hand and says that he always thought of himself as more insensitive. The rest of the monsters close in on him, and Hiro says that he now understands that he will just have to do this until he gets used to it. He tells them to attack him until she gets used to killing. In the guild, a bag falls on the table with a loud sound. Hiro asks the girl to evaluate these 22 goblin fingers. The girl admits that she is surprised that he was able to kill so many goblins. Hiro asks to evaluate them as soon as possible. The sum of his reward is 45,000. Now he will be able to buy healing pills and enough for weapons. He discovered that he could write the word cleansing to clean his clothes. The young man thinks about what quests he should take tomorrow. He decides that he needs to think about countermeasures against other monsters. Hiro buys new weapons, finds some plants, fights against insect monsters, and brings everything to the guild. He is already level 10, and in the guild he is already E rank. The girl says that Okamura is a rising star. Her colleague asks her what she is so proud of. The girl notices that he left. The girl deduces that he left. The girls discuss where he is from, because he has rather unusual clothes. Hiro claims that if he continues to work in Victoria, the king may find out about him, and may say that since he is so strong, he is no different from the heroes. The boy thinks about what he noticed, that the school uniform is unusual for this world. The next morning, in his new armor, he sets out on a journey. He asks himself where he should go now. Shiro reaches the village and looks at the map, thinking about staying overnight since the border is still far away. The young man walks through the village and notices that the locals are wary of him and believe that they do not like strangers here. A little girl calls out to him. A little girl asks him if he is an adventurer. Hiro looks at her and turns away. The girl screams at him not to ignore her. Hiro calls her a brat and asks what she wants. The girl screams at him not to call her that. She asks him why he came and tells him not to ignore her. Hiro replies that it doesn't concern her and is called a brat. Hiro clarifies that she is a brat and asks what's wrong with calling her that. She says he calls her that on purpose, even though she told him not to call her that. She screams that all adventurers are a bunch of miserly losers. Hiro says that he is who he is and asks her not to compare him to others because it is stressful. The girl asks if he will then be a nuisance to the village. Hiro hears a noise and turns around to see a man lying on the ground. The boy shouts at the man that if he keeps yapping to them here, he will kill him. The girl says that these guys are adventurers who have recently come to the village and are taking any food they like and doing whatever they want. Hiro says he understands. She was worried that other adventurers might also harm the village. She replies that they are. She asks Hiro if he can fight since he has a weapon and asks him to help them. He says that he is an adventurer and can fight, but he's not a judge. And if she wants justice, then she should go and find herself a hero. The girl says she doesn't like the way he says it. The man turns to Coco, telling her to stop. Coco's dad says the guy is right. Heroes who help people for free, like in fairy tales, don't exist. Hiro says that's exactly it, and besides, they should go to the guards with such problems. The man replies that many wanted to do that, but these guys stole the land title, and the people can't do anything about them. Hiro claims that they paid for their carelessness and tells them to deal with their own problems. The girl says that he can help them. Hiro replies that if she wants him to work for her, then she should pay him a proper price. The girl is surprised by this answer, asking again. She runs away to the bandits, and her father shouts that she can't go there. He wants to run after her, but because of his broken leg, he falls and can't catch up with her. The man approaches Hiro, asking if he would help if they paid him. A guy asks his friend how long he will be eating. The bandit tells him to hurry up when a rock hits him in the temple. Coco, throwing a stone, shouts for him and his friend to leave the village. The guy asks her if she wanted to die and swings his sword. He doesn't have time to attack because an elongated sword appears in front of him. He stands in horror and Coco is surprised. Hiro tells her to get up. The girl asks him why he helped. Hiro replies that he was paid, so he will help. The bandit asks Hiro who he is, and he replies that he does not have to answer. Hiro says he will crush him and attacks. The bandit notices that he is fast. Hiro hits him with his sword, and he does not have time to dodge. The bandit says that it is impossible and falls to the ground. Hiro claims that as he thought, nothing special. Coco asks him if he is dead. The young man replies that he is unconscious. The second bandit comes out of the house and asks why his friend is on the ground. Hiro wounds him with his sword, but notices that he is wearing armor. Hiro steps back, thinking about the protective armor he's wearing. He rips his shirt off and screams how dare he tear his clothes. The guy tells Hiro that he will turn him into mincemeat. Hiro hits him on the legs, but there is armor there too. Hiro asks if he is wearing a full set of armor. The bandit hits the ground and looks at the place where he hit and sees the mark of his fist there, but not Hiro. He asks where he is, and Hiro stands behind him and says that he is here. He activates the magic of words. Annie tells him to stand, and behind the bandit, steam starts coming out. On his back is written, warm, and steam comes out of the writing. The guy screams that he is hot. The girl looks at all this in surprise while the bandit screams, asking why it is so hot. Hiro replies that who knows and writes a new word, strengthening. He punches the guy in the face. Coco's father and Coco watched all this. The village began to clap and rejoice that the bandits were defeated. Hiro receives notifications and thinks that even for guys like these, he gets experience. Coco's father asks him if he is an outstanding adventurer. Hiro asks if he is. He assumes that these guys were weak. The man replies that no, because these two are known as the Harios brothers, and they say that these scoundrels are experienced. Hiro and the man look at each other as the girl hits the boy. She says that if he was so strong, he should have helped them right away. Hiro replies that he already said that he doesn't do it for free. He explains that this time he received a request from an old man, so that's why he helped. Coco's father asks him if he wants rare books and delicious food as payment. He asks if he wants to come into a shop before he gives them to him. The young man notes that there is a lot of stuff in his store. The man asks him to come to him. He takes out a sword and asks him to take it. Hiro picks it up and looks at it, surprised. The man says his name is the Impaler. He asks Hiro if he knows about katanas. The man explains that a katana is a weapon originally created by one of the zoomorphs. The man says that unlike swords created by humans, which are designed primarily for cutting using force, the katana specializes in cutting its victim into pieces using its speed. The man says he guarantees sharpness, but its true value is in how it pierces. He claims that the way it smoothly pierces its blade only proves its strength. The man replies that he hid it in the basement because his life was in danger. Hiro points out that it is different from the other things he sells. Hiro asks if he can really take her. The man replies that he feels sorry for her, but Hiro will need her more. He admits that he really thinks so. Hiro replies that he overestimates him, because he didn't deal with those guys because he wanted to. The man asks how about it. Coco notices Hiro leaving the store. She calls him. He catches some bag from her and opens it. There are cookies inside the bag. Hiro tries the cookies and she asks how they are. The boy says that this is the payment he wanted from the brat. and the girl is happy. She asks what about him. He, not having heard, asks again. The girl demands to know her name. The young man replies that he is Hiro Okamura. The girl pronounced the boy's name as the word hero and then ran away. Hiro looks at his panel, surprised that he gained 2 levels. He says that those 2 did a good job of boosting his experience. He looks at his stats and states that it's amazing how much they increased them. He says that apparently the title of Traveler has its advantages because he's not even a hero, but he still had such good fortune. He also notices that he has a new magic. He reads that it is writing words in the air and decides that it is worth trying. He writes soaring in the air and shoots the word into the vase. The vase of flowers begins to float in the air. He lies down on the bed with the book in his hands. He remembers that he received a book about the history of this world and, in addition, a good weapon. The next morning, Coco's father says he didn't think he would leave without saying anything. Coco holds up the cookies, saying she made them again. The man says they will definitely see each other again. Coco wipes away her tears and says yes. She says they have a new relic from the hero. In the castle of the Kingdom of Victoria, someone says that his shoulders are stiff. The knight addresses the heroes, saying that they have worked hard and are already used to everything. Chika asks if they've always worked well together. Taishi says yes. Shinobu claims that they have been through a lot in the last quests and have become noticeably stronger. Lilith states that they have all worked hard. The princess says that they have completed even more quests today. She announces that the bath is ready. The girls are all sitting in the bathtub. Chika asks Lilith if anything strange has been happening in the country lately. Lilith says that in fact there was something and that the soldiers who returned from patrolling the border told her about it. She says that 2 wanted criminals were captured in the village of Amos. However, she adds that what the villagers said can't be true. Shinobu asks what she means. Lilith explains that they said they were saved by a hero in a red robe. She admits that what surprised her most was that he had black hair, used magic to extend his blade, and acted arrogant. Chika, hearing the description, remembers Hiro, but says that it is impossible for that bespectacled guy to save people. Shinobu says that she is exaggerating. Shuri says that she may be right, but she wonders what happened there and where he is now. Hiro sneezes and says that the border is still far away, which means his next stop is the Torchu mountain range. Hiro sees berries nearby. He says he's hungry and should have bought more food in Ames. He approaches the berries and wonders if they are edible. He pulls a berry out of the ground and his root screams. Hiro runs away from the beasts and monsters. He asks who would have thought that this was Torchu's plant of misfortune. He remembers the incident in the guild. A guild member tells him that if he ever gets a chance to visit the Torshu Mountains, he should be wary of the Torshu misfortune plants. Hiro asks her what they are. The girl explains that they make a scream and attract monsters. Hiro runs away and thinks about how he could be so carefree. This world is really interesting for him. He activates magic and attacks monsters. Hiro, hiding in the forest, says that he could have figured it out. But so many monsters suddenly jumping out of nowhere scared him. He realizes that he's still hungry. Suddenly, he smells something and runs towards it. He goes to the riverbank, where he sees a fire on which fish is roasting. He begins to look around and search for the owner. He says it's time for a snack and wants to eat the fish. Someone falls on top of him, yelling at him to take his hands off. The man lands and covers the fish with a lid. He demands the boy's name. The man points to himself and says that stealing food from Arnold is unforgivable and asks him to identify himself. Hiro asks if this is his fish. The boy asks if he will give it to him, saying he is hungry. Arnold says he is very noisy and asks how his parents raised him. Hiro asks if he will give it or not and adds that he is already annoying. The man gets angry and asks who is annoying him here. The girl, who was watching all this, calls her uncle. She asks him if he is okay. Arnold asks Mir to wait a minute. He says he will teach the scoundrel a lesson and beats some sense into his head with his fist of love. Hiro looks at the trembling girl and exhales. Iroh states that he will not take everything and asks to share a little. Arnold asks if he has not been taught to talk to others at all. Hiro asks what the problem is and states that he will not compromise anymore. The man attacks him and says he is in no position to say such a thing. Hiro manages to dodge his attack, noting that he is fast. Arnold thinks that he is good. Arnold reaches for his sword, and Hiiro wants to take out his katana. Suddenly they hear strange sounds and turn around. The monster stands near Muir, roaring loudly as the girl stares at him in horror, unable to move. The monster reaches out its paw to grab her, but Arnold blocks it with his body and cuts off its paw. Arnold asks Muir if she is okay. He tells her to leave it to him and run away herself. The girl says that there is someone ahead. Arnold curses as he notices 3 more monsters in front of him. He thinks about the fact that there are 4 barbarian bears. He thinks about what to do and whether to use it. Hiiro asks the man if there were only fish. He replies that there were only fish and asks what difference it makes to him. Hiiro says that he has no reason to stay any longer, so he will leave them. Arnold notices that the paw he just cut off has crushed the fire where the fish were. Arnold fights off the monsters and screams that of all places, she really ended up there. Hiiro says that it looks like he's having a hard time, but he should try his best there. Arnold asks him to wait, and says that, since he knows he's having a hard time, he should help him. Hiiro replies that he refuses. He adds that he is willing to compromise if he has more fish for him. The man curses at him. Arnold realizes he can't protect Muir from 4 bears at once. He yells that if it comes to this, he'll use his last trump card. Hiiro hears the man say that he will share some of his water dog meat with him, so let him help him. Hiiro approaches him and asks him what it is. He shouts that it is first-class meat. It just melts on the tongue and has a wonderful taste. At this time, one of the monsters grabs Muir and wants to eat her. The bear's paw is marked paralyze, preventing him from moving, so he lets go of Muir. Muir falls and Arnold runs to catch her, but clearly doesn't make it in time. Hiiro says he caught her. Muir looks at his savior with admiration in his eyes. The girl continues to look at Hiiro. The boy tells her that if she wants to stand on her own feet, then she should get off. Otherwise, she will end up in the middle of a fight. Hiiro turns to the man and tells him to gather the creatures together. Arnold reluctantly agrees, cursing at him. Arnold tells Hiiro that if he wants to get hit, he should move back. Hiiro waits for Arnold to do as he asks. Arnold prepares to use his move. He spins his sword and uses Wind Explosive Claw, gathering all the bears together. Hiiro says that it is not bad. He ruses that it does not feel the use of magic, and wonders if it was not her. Arnold asks if it's okay that they're in the air, and the boy replies that it's even better this way. He uses word magic and extends his sword. Hiiro stabs 4 bears that were floating in the air with his extended sword. All the monsters fall to the ground, defeated by them. The boy reflects that this is to be expected from a katana specialized in piercing almost as easily as piercing tofu. Arnold asks Hiiro how he saved Muir back then. The boy asks him if he shouldn't be more concerned about the safety of the little guy. The man starts yelling, asking where she is. Muir says she is here and comes out from under her cover. She asks if it is over yet. Arnold runs up to her, grabs her by the shoulders and asks if she is hurt. The girl assures her she is not. Arnold calms down, happy that she is okay. Hiiro tells him to keep his promise. Arnold asks what promise he is talking about. The situation escalates and Hiiro reaches for his katana. Arnold asks what promise he is talking about. Hiiro becomes furious, and the man yells that he was just joking. The man apologizes to Muir, saying he doesn't want to force her to eat the meat here. The girl says it's okay, and he saved her after all. She asks if it doesn't taste better when eaten with someone else. The man makes a loud noise and screams. He hugs Muir, asking why she is such a good child. Hiiro tells him to hurry up. He is hungry. Arnold claims he is something special and says he is starting to cook. Hiiro holds a plate of meat in his hands. Arnold and Hiiro look at Muir, who says that they can now begin eating. The 3 of them begin their meal and feel something incredible. Hiiro thinks that this meat is gradually melting on his tongue and disappearing completely. Arnold cries and asks Hiiro if it's worth killing for. He says it's a dogfish thigh, the tastiest part of the animal. He also tells Muir that her sauce is fantastic. Hiiro asks her if she made the sauce. The girl, embarrassed, replies that she did. She explains that it is a special sauce made from the alta fruit. The hero said that she tried well. After their dinner, the man asks Hiiro his name. The boy demands that he tell him his name first. The man replies that the adventurer and cook is Arnold Ocean. Hiiro, hearing that he is a cook, says that then it is clear where he got such meat. The girl says she is Mura Castellaire. Hiiro asks if she has been kidnapped. Arnold, angry, stands up and shouts that she is not. He explains that Mura is from a village he is passing through and says that the rest is unimportant. He claims that she is now his daughter. Hiiro muses that it seems they had their own circumstances, though he doesn't care. Arnold asks him who he is. The young man replies that he is Hikuro Okamura, an adventurer and an avid reader. Arnold yells that the last part is just his hobby. Arnold says that he thinks Mir laughing is incredibly cute too. Mir states that she is not a little girl and is already 12. Arnold, hearing her words, says that it is for sure and she can already have a child. Mir shouts at him not to say such embarrassing things. Iroh says that she is probably not what he first thought. The girl begins to blush under Hiiro's attentive gaze. Arnold claims that anyone would be taken aback if a food thief with bad manners and even worse looks appeared in front of them. He states that he is willing to eat garbage to protect Mir. Hiiro says that would completely destroy his human dignity. Hiiro asks if this is one of those jokes that are popular among the beastmen these days. Arnold and Mir are surprised to hear this. Arnold reaches for the sword, asking him how he figured that out. Hiiro points his finger, telling him to look there. Arnold looks over and sees that Mir has a tail. Ichiro asks if one of the beastman's features is the tail. He also notices the hat she is wearing. He asks her if she wears the hat to hide her beast ears, another feature of the beastman. Arnold says he is right and the baby is a beastman, but he insists they did nothing wrong. Arnold bows and asks him not to tell anyone about this. Hiiro asks why he would tell anyone about this. He claims that he doesn't care whether the little girl is a beastman or a human. Hiiro says that instead of worrying about such a trivial matter, it would be better to let him do something useful. He claims that the fact that they live here does not change anything, and asks if things like books and food are more important. Arnold starts laughing loudly. Hiiro tells him not to laugh in front of him and threatens to stab him. Arnold says that it is true, and there are guys like him. He shows him his tail and says that he is also a beastman. He says that they are going to return to the Beastman continent, which is just beyond the border. Hiiro closes the book and remains silent. Arnold asks him if he is interested in why he doesn't have animal ears. The man says his ears were stolen from him when he was still a servant. Arnold replies that someone his age might not know about this, since the custom has been abolished. He says that, in the past, humans created a system to oppress the beastmen, and they would kidnap and engrave a magical sign on their children, and if they tried to resist, it would cause them unbearable pain. He explains that his ears were cut off before being sold because they caused a bad situation. Arnold says that his ears are prosthetics that a friend of his made for him and asks him if they look real. Hiiro asks if the mark is so easy to erase and if he managed to escape since he is here. Arnold replies that the mark automatically disappears when the owner dies. He says that he did nothing, and a sympathetic person saved them. Hiiro states that in their place, he would have taken revenge on the people in the most sophisticated ways. Arnold says that he is happy now, and that is the most important thing. He apologizes for forgetting to ask what he is doing in such a place. He asks Hiiro if he has a mission. The boy replies that he is crossing the border, just like them. Arnold asks him why a man would go to the Beastman continent. He replies that it is because he wants to, and because the world is in turmoil. But he doesn't care at all. He does whatever he wants. Hiiro addresses the girl, calling her Shorty, and asks if she is going to take off that hat. The girl is silent, and he asks her if she wants to. The girl hesitantly replies that she will. Nier takes off his hat. Hiiro looks at it and thinks that it is a good sign that he managed to meet the Beastmen so soon after coming to this world. Mir says that it embarrasses her, and Arnold looks at the guy with irritation. Arnold says that's enough talking. He claims that fate itself brought them together. He offers to go together since they are heading to the same place and assures them that he will take them there. Hiiro says he is wrong. Hiiro gets up and leaves, saying he should have politely asked him to follow him. The man cursed at the guy. Arnold admits that he is interested and asks him what level he is. Hiiro asks why he is interested. Arnold claims that his physical attributes are quite high for a human, and his thirst for killing is decent, but he can't help but feel that he lacks experience. Hiiro asks what level he is and decides to check it with his magic. Arnold replies that he is level 31. Hiiro reads Arnold and Muir's character references and realizes that he's not lying. He reads their titles and thinks they are tasteless. Hiiro says he's level 23. He thinks he still can't trust them completely, but traveling with them for a while might be interesting. Arnold exclaims that he is better in one. Hiiro assures that level is not everything. Arnold asks if he wants to admit defeat, and the boy offers to test it. Arnold agrees and follows her. Hiiro says he managed to escape this time. Arnold makes a face at him and says he's lucky. Muir asks them not to fight anymore, and Arnold immediately agrees. Muir says he's not a little girl. They enter the village and say in bewilderment that not a stone has been left standing of the village of Wando. Arnold asks a villager if something is wrong. The man replies that it is all because of the beastmen that have gone berserk. Arnold asks why some beastmen went berserk. The man explains that they got into a fight with a strange group of humans because they wanted to arrest them and told them to be obedient. He says it was an unreasonable demand, but they immediately attacked them when the beastmen refused. Arnold asks what happened to those beastmen. Arnold and Muir stand at the grave of those beastmen. He wonders why this happened. He asks what that group called themselves. The man replies that they call themselves the Beastmen Cage. A frustrated Arnold and Muir sit on a bed in the inn. Hera reads a book on another bed and looks in their direction. Arnold starts screaming. He says he can't do anything sitting there looking sullen because it's not his style. Muir claims he scared her. Hiiro says he doesn't care and asks him not to shout so suddenly. He says he was almost ready to call the doctor and tell him he's gone crazy. Arnold laughs, saying that for some reason his snapping today is actually invigorating. Hiiro asks if he is a masochist and the man tells him to shut up. Arnold asks if he wanted to say something. Hiiro says he just wanted to ask how long it will take them to get to the border. The man says he's not rushing too much and maybe they should slow down. The man suggests continuing in the same spirit and dealing with problems as they arise. Hikro asks if he is being too optimistic. The man replies that it is his principle not to take everything to heart. He assures that he is in a completely different situation when it comes to Muir, and then he will destroy everything in his path. Hiiro asks if he is flaunting his title. The man shouts that is not true. Muir tells Hiiro that he is rude and that she is not a little girl anymore. Arnold says that she was just cute now. Muir asks if she is really cute. Haha, Ro doesn't pay any attention to her, and Muir gets upset. The next day, Arnold says he wants to sell his loot from the monsters before they leave, but there is no guild in this village. Hiiro says they have enough money and asks him why he doesn't just throw it away. The man asks why such extravagance, since the catch is bee toad needles and they are expensive. Arnold says that if they have money, they can buy rare ingredients and the books he loves so much. Hiiro asks how long they will stand here and chat or go to the main shop. The man says to listen to him. The man asks if he sells them here. The seller says that no matter what he says, if he doesn't have them, he won't be able to sell them to him. The customer says he is in trouble, and since he runs the main store, he must have things like bee-toad quills. Muir turns to the man, telling him something. He doesn't let her finish, asking her if she has any, and she is very frightened by such a harsh treatment. Arnold stands in front of her and the man apologizes, saying he got carried away. Arnold asks if he needs bee-toad quills. The man replies that his daughter was bitten by a poisonous bug, so he needs them. Arnold says that's the case, but Hiiro interrupts him. He offers money for rare food ingredients in a book. The man says he is not trying to take everything for free, but will buy them other things as a thank you. Arnold apologizes to him. The man says no. He assures her that his wife and daughter will be happy about it and asks her to consider it from them. He shouts that the next time they meet, they will have a drink together. Hiiro says that this guy is just like a typhoon, and Arnold agrees with him. They pass through Palados and talk about how they have decent food. They decide to spend the night there. Arnold thinks that they are not here. Hiiro reports that there is some noise in the square. Arnold asks if there is a performance there. They approach the crowd and Arnold is surprised to see something there. He sees a group of people arresting beastmen. Arnold thinks about how they are even in this place. He tells Hiiro to get out of here. The man shouts at everyone not to move, because from now on, they will catch anyone who tries to escape. The man says that there are beastmen in this city, and they have come to capture them. Hiiro notices a book in the cart. He sees that the guard is distracted and decides that he will take a look at it. He wonders how he can get to it, because he wants to read it. The guards ask people to take off their hats. Arnold tells Muir that everything is fine. The guard dismisses another man and approaches Arnold and Muir. Ron addresses the man with blue hair. The man says he is talking to him. He repeats that she should take off her hat and tells her to hurry up. Arnold realizes that he is going to have to fight. Someone shouts at them to let at least the child go. The guards tell her to be quiet. The guards tell them to report that they have found 2. The man says it's definitely them. He orders them to stand up, saying they're going to kill them now. Arnold thinks about why this had to happen. The boy says that this girl has a tail and points at Muir. Arnold, the guards and Hiiro turn their attention to her. The guards tell them not to move and advance towards them. Muir apologizes to Arnold, but he tells her it's not her fault and they need to escape. The man with the bandage says that protecting the Beastmen is not the best thing to do unless he wants to die. Arnold wonders if this is their leader. He thinks he's on a completely different level. Hiiro wonders what he should do because the old man hasn't figured it out yet, and he's clearly going to fight the guy with the bun and the other guys. He thinks that if they were carefree, he could join in and do it, but surrounded by such a crowd of people, there is no chance to use the magic of words. Arnold asks the man what he is talking about, because it doesn't matter whether you are a human or a beast man. All that matters is that you are alive. The man replies that there are very few beastmen, but that does not mean they are worth hating less than demons. He says that their very existence is disgusting. Arnold starts to get angry, but the man continues to say that he is sickened by the very fact of their existence. Arnold attacks him, telling him to stop talking nonsense. The man defends himself by saying he has seen this before. Arnold shouts that he will never forgive him. Muir calls for Arnold. She is grabbed by other guards and taken somewhere. She calls out to him in tears, and Arnold screams for her to be let go. The man hits Arnold, and he loses consciousness. He says that he shouldn't throw away his life so easily if he is a human being, and leaves. The man decides to put her in a cage and send the mother and daughter there too. Arnold wants to stop them, but he can't even get up. Arnold calls Muir, cursing. Hiiro looks at Muir's hat and says that he doesn't like this attitude. Arnold yells, asking again if 2 hours have passed. Hiiro claims that he slept too long. Arnold gets up and leaves. Hiiro asks him where he's going. Arnold replies that he went to save Muir, since if 2 hours have passed, they couldn't have gone far. He says that if he searches everywhere, he will find her. Hiiro argues that this is not the most efficient way to conduct business. Arnold shouts and asks if he has a better plan. Hiiro asks to let him go and punches Arnold in the stomach. Hiiro says that how much can he do if he can knock him out with one punch. Arnold says he knows. But even now, Muir needs help. Hiiro tells him not to worry, because they are still in the city. Arnold is happy, asking if he's serious. Hiiro asks not to get too close, saying he'll run over them. He says there's a rumor they're meeting someone here, so they stopped east of town. Probably because that person hasn't shown up yet. Arnold wants to go there, but Hiiro stops him. Arnold asks him if he will help. Hiiro says that he is not that kind, and he is just interested in their group, so he asks to tell about it. Arnold says that he has no reason to tell her anything. He asks how she plans to pay him for dragging him like a dead frog all the way here and giving him information. Arnold says that he will keep it short, so listen carefully. He explains that the organization is called the Beastmen Cage, and that their goal is to either drive them out or turn them into servants. He says that they patrol the continent and will act according to principles. Arnold says that he was caught once too, and it was when he was forced to be a servant. He says that they are all strong, or should be strong, to fight the Beastmen, who are physically stronger than normal humans. He asks Hiiro if he is not uninterested in all the other humans, and what caught his attention this time. Hiiro replies that he was not interested in them, but in the book they were holding. He mumbles that they picked her up while they were traveling across the continent. He says he wants to see them all. Arnold asks if he can go now. Hiiro thinks that he can go separately from them, but they can give him information about their continent. He also reflects on how Arnold's cooking is surprisingly good. Arnold asks what now, saying he needs to hurry. Hiiro thinks about that book. He thinks that it won't be easy to help them, but if he steals the book on the sly, his conscience will be clear, because they are hunting beastmen, Hiiro suggests that Arnold steal the book. He agrees, then corrects himself, saying that he meant to say Muir first. Muir is crying in one of the carts. She remembers Arnold and wonders why she always gets in his way. She apologizes to him and suggests that he would be better off without her. She hears a girl asking her mother if they are going to die. She asks her if the beastmen are really that bad and if they just look a little different. Her mother apologizes, saying that if only she had not insisted on visiting this city, then nothing would have happened. The woman turns to Muir, saying that she is very sorry because she got caught because of them. Muir replies that it is not so. The girl also apologizes to her. Muir wipes away her tears and thinks that she can't cry now. She thinks that she has to repay her uncle's kindness, and if she says that it would be better if she were gone, he will be upset, and Mom and Dad will be angry too. Muir says she is scared too, but it is okay. She explains that there is a hero in this town, and he will definitely save them, and asks her to believe in him. The girl is happy to hear about the hero. She says that she believes her. Muir asks if Arnold will come to save her, and says that Hikuro may or may not come. At this time, they run to her, Arnold to save her and Hikuro for the book. The man greets Sir Puro, saying that they have not seen each other for a long time. The man says that he always carries out his orders. He assures that there is no need for formalities. The man asks if they think it's too hot in here. The squad members think it's him. Sir Apuro asks if he can take a quick look at the merchandise. Falls asks him to go to the carriage. He opens it and shows him who is inside. The man rejoices and reaches out his hands to them. He says they are real beauties. He states that he is always pleased with his work. Falls replies that he is flattered by his words. The man asks who this child is. He notices her silver hair, saying it is so unusual. He assumes she is a silver wolf, claiming that she would then be a precious purchase. He also says that he absolutely adores the two cats. Falls asks if that means he's happy with the product. The man replies that he's always grateful. Falls says not quite. He claims that in the end, it is the only way to use these filthy beastmen. He asks to send his mana to confirm the purchase. Apuro says that he is such a merchant. Suddenly, the paper in False's hands catches fire. He doesn't understand what happened. Hiro tells Arnold in his mind to try harder. Arnold comes up to them and tells them to stay put. He draws his sword and announces that he is taking Muir back. Falls is angry, recognizing Arnold. Muir screams for him and Arnold is relieved that she is safe. Falls takes out his sword and states that he told him to value his life. Arnold turns his back to him and shows his tail, saying that he's a beastman. All members of the organization are surprised and do not believe it. Falls says that he doesn't have animal ears. Arnold explains that they, the people, cut them off. And at that moment he thinks about how he got their attention. He points to his ears and says they are prosthetics. She wonders what the rest of it is on Hiro. At this time, he creeps up to the wagons. Hiro, hiding himself with his magic, approaches the carts. He thinks that Arnold did a good job and everything is going according to their plan. He finds the book he wanted. He reads that it is Gourmet's Journey, Magic Structures, and thinks that it is not bad. He notices another one called The Best in the World, Big-Breasted Girls. He dropped it and decided to take the remaining books. He writes the word light on the bag and throws it into the grass near the carts. He reflects that using two words with the same effect at the same time is impossible, and that this word will last for another minute. He thinks that he did the right thing by moving it with the word send. False says to raise only. He is a beastman. He asks Sir Apuro if he needs a beastman as well. He says, no dirty men. Falls says that in their time, there are no buyers for beastmen, a man. And if someone is to blame, then let him blame himself for being born a beastman. Arnold says that this time, he will not lose. Falls states that this was said by a representative of a race that can't even use magic and swings a sword. He says he won't even use his hands. His subordinates use magic on his orders. Falls gives the sign to release fire, and they attack him with fire magic. Arnold uses his skill Explosive Wind Claw to block their attack. Falls is surprised, asking if this is the art of trickery. He says it is not bad, but wonders how long he will last. Arnold shouts that he will take him too. Falls smirks and tells him to try if he can. Arnold wants to attack him, shouting that he is a coward. Falls replies that he calls it strategy, and his men attack him with fire again. Arnold has withstood all the fire attacks, but Fall says he seems to be at his limit. He tells him not to worry, as Sir Alfonso will take good care of them. Alfonso claims that they are the sweetest beastmen, and he can't wait to see their innocent faces twisted in sadness. Arnold begins to get angry at him. Arnold asks Falls how he felt about how long he should have stood there. Falls asks him what he was talking about. Arnold yells that he meant it and attacks them. He tells them to bite it, but Falls asks if he's going to hit the wagon too. Arnold uses explosive wind claw and creates a large tornado that traps all of Falls' people in carts. Arnold stands in the middle of the destruction. He sticks his sword into the ground and asks how it is. Falls says he is surprised he has so much strength left. Arnold is surprised that he was able to withstand a fully charged wind claw explosion and tells him that he is not an ordinary guy after all. Falls replies that it is natural and says that he is just a barbaric beastman for sucking his friends into the whirlwind so easily. Arnold laughs and asks if he is blind. Falls does not understand what he is talking about. Arnold explains that he did not harm any beastman with his attack. Falls hears Muir calling out to Arnold. Hiro, Muir, and the girl and her mother appear near Arnold, watching the battle. Falls says it's incredible and asks how they got out of the wagon. He wonders who this boy is, looking at Hiro. Arnold replies that he would like to know too, but suggests that they return to the topic another time. Arnold says that he is the only one left and asks if he thinks the situation has changed radically. Falls starts laughing, which surprises Arnold. Falls says that his powers are more than enough to defeat someone like him. Arnold notices his incredible lust for killing. Muir stands in front of Arnold and says that it is her turn to protect him. Falls claims that the mere sight of them irritates him, and they even sent a client flying. He prepares to attack them and says that he will kill them all now. He attacks them with flame bullet, but Arnold manages to grab Muir and warn everyone about the danger. Falls notes in surprise that they dodged the attack. Hiro thinks that this man is not so simple and decides to check his status. Hiro thinks that there is a difference of 27 levels, so he is leading the old man by the nose. He remembers that he told him to try and control himself, but now he is in a terrible situation. Hiro says that, however, even here it is really hot with everyone. He notices something and screams shrilly. Arnold and Falls are distracted by his scream and look in his direction. Hiro looks at the ashes that remain from his book. He falls down next to her. Hiro takes her hands, but she crumbles, right in his hands. He looks at his empty hands and starts laughing hysterically when Arnold calls him. Hiro looks at Falls and asks how dare he burn his books. Falls doesn't understand what he's talking about, and Arnold points out that these aren't his books. Hiro stands up, preparing to attack, and asks Falls if he's prepared for the consequences. Falls asks what he is talking about. Hiro uses magic for speed and in an instant is at his side, attacking. Falls says that this guy is not on their level. He swings his sword at him, but he dodges and comes from behind, attacking him in return. Arnold asks what's wrong with this guy since he's so fast. Falls says with a smile that he still ends up behind Hiro, attacking him with his sword. Hiro fails to dodge and falls to the floor. Falls says he was simply returning the favor. Hiro, noticing the eye without the patch, wonders what's wrong with it. Falls asks if that ridiculous eye bothers him. He says he will never understand the pain and suffering he went through when the Beastman implanted it into him. Arnold, surprised, asks if it was the Beastman who did it. Falls reveals that the agony soon turns to hatred and attacks Hiro. Falls, while fighting the young man, says that she will never disappear, and this is the simple reason why he will never forgive the Beastmen, and truly hates them. Falls punches Hiro in the face so hard that he flies back. He says that this is the reason. He walks up to Hiro and picks him up. He adds that this is the reason why he will forgive him for protecting them, and punches him right in the stomach. Hiro understands that at this rate he will quickly run out of HP. He tries to use his magic, but Falls grabs his hand and Hiro is surprised, not expecting that. Falls says he has no idea what he is trying to do, but with his right eye he is able to see every move he makes. Hiro realizes that his eye not only enhances his field of vision, but also his physical skills. He admits that he didn't think he was that strong. Falls wants to kill Hiro, and says that this is the end for him. Arnold screams loudly as he throws his sword at Falls. Falls knocks the sword away, saying he sees it. He states he will kill him later and orders him to stand there. He uses Crimson Spear and hits Arnold with it. Foles tells him not to interfere if he is too weak, and tells him that he resembles the beastman he killed recently. Mir puts out Arnold when he remembers the village. He asks Foles why he did something so horrible. Foles asks if he hasn't told him already. He explains that he hates them. Hiiro says he can understand where he is coming from. Hiiro uses his magic to create light to blind him. Foles screams in pain as his eye is hit by the light. Hiiro says that he is now indebted to the old man. Foles comes to his senses and opens his left eye, but Hiiro immediately attacks him. He punches him in the face so hard that Foles almost falls over. Hiiro points to his wounded face and says that he has now returned the favor. Foles, angry, curses. He screams, asking why he sided with the beastman and whether he is human or not. He screams that they are the enemy, and that is common sense, so let him listen to it. Hiiro replies that common sense means nothing to him. He says that he ruined his fun, which is why he will deal with him. The Beast Girl screams that he should die and calls him ugly with a strange eye. Foles furiously asks what he said. The girl continues to scream that he is ugly, but her mother tries to stop her. Foles says that she seems to want to die and attacks her with fire. However, Muir manages to cover her with himself. Arnold screams for Muir, who shielded the girl from the fire. He looks at the fire, thinking that this can't be happening. Hiiro comes out of the fire. Arnold and Foles, noticing this, are surprised. Hiiro pulls the girls out of the fire and tells them that they are in the way, so let them go. Muir notices that his hand is burned and calls out to him, pointing it out. Hiiro says that it was only grazed and nothing serious and orders him to run away. Muir thanks him, but is very embarrassed. Hiiro says that they were running away. Hiiro states that he will protect these people because they are his clients. Foles says that he is starting to get angry and points out that he can't use his arm now. Hiiro laughs and his arm is completely healed. He used his word magic to heal his arm and says he can now. Foles asks if it is healing magic and if he can use light magic without becoming one of the priests. Hiiro says he can think as he pleases. Foles prepares another magical attack, saying that it's time to stop playing and now he'll beat him up. He uses Scorch Strike and several fireballs fly towards Hiiro. They explode right next to him and Arnold, and Muir scream for him. Hiiro runs out of the smoke as Muir screams in surprise. Foles says he knew he would go head-on. He attacks him again, telling him to die. Hiiro wrote kickback on the floor. Foles asks what he did to make his fire bullet disappear. Hiiro tells him to watch his feet better. Hiiro writes glue on the floor and Foles doesn't understand what he's doing. Foles can't move and asks what it is, and clarifies whether he can use earth magic as well. Hiiro swings and says that he wonders what that could be, and hits him in the face. The man shakes in pain as Hiiro says that this is the first volume of Gourmet Travel Report across the continent. Foles doesn't understand what he's talking about. Arnold watches as Hiiro continues to beat up Foles, saying what the second, third volume and the magic system are. Arnold states that his unhealthy obsession with books is unbelievable and decides that he will try to be more careful. Foles is unable to get up due to the injuries he received. Foles curses, creating fire to attack him. Hiiro asks if it would be fun to take down a fire mage with his own element and uses word magic. He writes burn in the air and uses it on Foles. Hiiro says he must learn his lesson about who to choose as opponents. Foles asks him to wait and who he is. Hiiro asks him again. Hiiro replies that he is a unique cheater. Foles, dying, says that he will remember his face and looking at Arnold and Muir, adds that they will too. Hiiro asks if it's true and says that he is now completely naked. Foles screams, and Hiiro leaves, calling him bad. Foles screams that he will never forget this. Hiiro picks up a rock from the ground and throws it at him, telling him to shut up. Hiiro claims that he is definitely a firebender, as he has held up so well and suggests that this is why he has such a strong resistance to fire. He tells Arnold that they need to enter the city before a crowd of people comes running. The Beast Woman thanks them for saving her and asks how they can repay her. Hiiro replies that there is no need, as it is only part of his order. Arnold thanks Hiiro, saying that he really helped. The young man replies that it is more important that they do not forget about the exquisite ingredients. Arnold ponders what would have happened if Hiiro had not helped and wonders who he is. He thinks that he has high physical abilities and unusual strength for a human. He decides to ask him what he writes using it. Sir Alfonso runs towards them, shouting for them to wait, declaring that he will not let them leave. The man claims that the Beastman cage will bring reinforcements and they will not be able to escape. He says that this time they will do him a favor by doing him one last favor. Arnold laughs, asking what she is supposed to be. Sire replies that it is obvious. He states that he will play with this body until he is completely satisfied, especially with her ugly Beastman body. Sir Alfonso asks the man who approaches him who he is. Arnold recognizes him and is surprised, asking if he is Rav. Ravi grabs Sir Alphonse, telling him to listen. He says that this is a divine, beautiful woman and a charming, beautiful daughter. He hits him and shouts that they are his dear wife and daughter. Everyone watches as Sir Alphonse flies away from his blow. Arnold, Hiiro, and Muir are surprised by this statement. A couple of weeks ago, a wounded man says he's screwed. He spots a house in the woods and figures he'll rest there. He realizes that he is losing consciousness and is already starting to stagger. He hears someone asking their mother if he is okay, and the woman replies that they did everything they could. The man falls down, not understanding what is happening. The woman asks if he is okay, and the girl exclaims that he has woken up. The man, seeing them, blushes. The man says that he then launched a violent attack and they got married. Arnold says he never thought there would be a person who would offer something like that to the Beast Woman. Rolf says that he is still glad that they are safe. The girl replies that the Hero-san saved them. She turns to Muir and says that the Hero brother really came, as she said. Muir replies that it is true, but she thinks that she did not mean Hero, but spoke of her uncle. Rav says that he is once again grateful to the three of them, and asks their names. Arnold gives his name, says that the girl's name is Muir, and the shameless antisocial personality is Hero. The young man thinks that this is not how they are presented. The girl bows and thanks Hero and Arnold calling him uncle, which annoys him. Arnold says that Muir calls him that too, so it's okay, but he's still young. Hero replies that he's an old man, and Arnold angrily asks what he said. Arnold and Rav turn around at the loud noise and ask what it is. It turns out that the sound is coming from Hero's stomach. The boy says that he is hungry. The Beast Woman says that she will then demonstrate her abilities, so that she can show her gratitude and pay the fee. She asks Uruv to help her, and Mir says that she will help too. Arnold says a cook like him can't just sit and watch. Rav says he'll go on patrol then. Chika says that the Red Cloak guy is really energetic. Shinobu replies that saving a Beastman child is a noble deed, and Shuri asks if he was like Okamura, judging from history. Chika sarcastically asks if Okamura, who acted like an outcast, destroyed the Beastman cage. She says no way. Shuri asks if Chika really likes Okamura. Chika says that it's obvious that she doesn't, and asks if there's anyone who might like him. Shinobu says that it's still interesting, and if Okamura-kun saved. Chika and Shuri start discussing something between themselves, and a person passing by says that they are talking like manga characters. Iroh's eyes widen at the sight before him. The woman says that to make the clover rat meat tasty, she made a sauce for it and added sweet and salty rice with thin pieces of fruit. She tells them to eat as much as they want, because she has prepared enough food. Everyone thanks the food and starts eating. Rav tells Arnold to take a look. He says that when Uro is around, she is just like an angel, and Arnold replies that he is wrong, and the girl next to her is much more like an angel. The woman asks them not to make a fuss, saying that they are both cute. She asks if there are any more questions. Rav says that cuteness is justice, and Arnold claims that Muir and Uru are both angels. Uru addresses Hero, saying that he is strong and cool. She asks if she should become his bride. Muir nervously asks if it is too early for her to become his bride. She replies that she is her mother's daughter, so when she grows up, she will be a fine woman. Muir shouts at her to wait. Rav asks Arnold what he should do to keep Hero away from Arnold tells him not to worry, as they are leaving soon, so his daughter will be fine. He states that the only one who should be worried is him, since he is traveling with him, and admits that he is jealous of Hero. Hero muses that it is a pity about the books, but he has delicious food, so it is an acceptable substitute. They say goodbye to each other. Arnold asks Rio to talk for a while. He asks if he really intends to stay with them. Hiiro asks what he means. Arnold explains that what happened attracted the attention of the Beastmen cage, so they will pursue them. He says that they can outrun them and ambush them at the border, so crossing it will cause problems. He adds that it is their fault that he was dragged into all this and admits that he is ashamed. Hiiro replies that it does not matter. He says that he does not like to blame other people, because he decided himself and he foresaw the possibility of persecution. Hiiro adds that he told him that he was heading towards the border, so this trip would be excellent payment for him. Arnold is touched by Hiiro's words. The young man asks him why he is whining and suggests that they go on a journey. Hiiro reflects that it is also his debt for helping him in a difficult situation, and if they part, it will only be when they become equal. He decides that such a journey should not be boring. He hears someone wanting to tell him something. Mir bows and says that she is sorry for what happened. She thanks him for saving her. He tells her not to worry. He remembers that she forgot it and puts a hat on her head. The girl panics, thanking him. Hiiro kneels down and hits her on the forehead. He says that if she is so worried, then she should get stronger. Mir covers her face with her hat. Arnold asks her if she is okay. Hiiro tells him to hurry up and asks him who will put up with him. He yells that he made him angry. Hiiro tells him to shut up, and Arnold asks what he said. Mir laughs as he watches their argument. She catches up to them and thinks that now it will be fun. At Mount Ragan, they bathe in the hot springs. Muir tells them not to look at her like that. Arnold tells Muir that she is so sweet, calling her his angel. At this time, someone falls from the cliff. Someone falls into the water, surprising Arnold and Muir. Arnold asks if it is a person. Muir says that either way, they have to get him out, and he agrees. The man lies unconscious, and Muir notices that it is a girl. She examines her and then compares their bodies and becomes upset by the difference in size. Arnold touches her face, telling her to wake up. Muir addresses him with a questioning tone, and Hiiro asks if the crime is in full swing. Arnold replies that it happened naturally, and all because the cheek was soft. Hiiro tells him to move and claims that his excuses make him seem more guilty than he already is. Arnold swears, yelling at Muir that things aren't as he thinks. Hiiro decides that writing "wake up" will do. The girl suddenly bites his hand. After she wakes up, the girl apologizes for biting his hand. She turns to Hiiro, and he tells her not to address him so familiarly, and calls her Antenna Girl. The girl says her real name is Vinka, but they can call her Vi. The girl falls to the ground, and Arnold asks what is wrong. Vi replies that she is hungry. Muir asks if that is why she fell. Muir says that they are on their way to the top now, so they might as well catch some crabs. She starts to say something else, but is interrupted by someone asking if they are tasty. Arnold replies that they must be delicious. Muir asks Vi if she is traveling alone. Vi replies that she is, and that she is looking for whoever did this. Muir asks if it is a dagger. Vi replies that it is a spear called the Victory Maiden's Bone, and makes it longer. Muir exclaims that this is unbelievable, and asks who did it. Vi replies that it was her dad, and Muir asks if it was her dad who did it, and Vi confirms it was. Vi shows her ears with her hands and says that she looks like this. She asks if they have seen him. Arnold asks if her father is a beastman and apologizes, saying that he has no idea. Hiiro asks if her parents are beastmen and notes that she doesn't look like them. He asks if they are her bloodline, and she says yes. Vi explains that she takes after her mother. Arnold says that Vi is a half-breed. Vi asks if it tastes good. Hiiro asks if being a half-breed means he won't have animal ears. Arnold replies that's not true at all. He explains that the mixed blood of a human and a beastman means that the child resembles the human parent. But when he is born a beastman, his entire body will become like that of an animal. Vi asks if they are scared, and Muir asks again. Vi explains that when she tells the dogs about her beastman blood, they get scared and call her a monster and taboo. Hey Crow asks why it is taboo, and Arnold replies that she will not be able to use magic and martial arts developed by the zoomorph race. He explains that each race cannot do something that the others can, and, being heretical beings, they are seen as taboo. Arnold shows his tail and Muir her ears, and he says that they are not afraid of her at all, because he and Muir are beastmen. He asks what the taboo means. If it is not only that she has no powers, Muir says that Vi is not a monster or taboo at all. V stares at Hiiro and he asks what she wants. Arnold says that this guy is much more open about this than them and tells what he said when he found out they were beastmen. V says he's smiling, and Hiiro says it doesn't matter. Hiiro says he is hungry and demands Arnold, calling him bad, to hurry up and take him to the top. Arnold yells at him to stop calling him that. V says Arnold is like a little girl. Arnold asks if he can see that V has gotten it all wrong now. Miura tells him to calm down. Arnold grabs a crab and says that one has already been found. Hiiro talks to Arnold, asking if he said that finding one of them at this spring is a good sign. Arnold explains that cow crabs are timid creatures and rarely come out of the water, and to top it off, they have excellent camouflage. He admits that he doesn't think they'll find them that easily. Hiiro is dissatisfied and asks what they should do then. Arnold says they will use his magic. Hiiro kicks him into the water. Arnold, completely soaked, curses. Hiiro assumes that this was the bonus for the Beastman Cage incident and asks if that is true. Arnold replies that he does, and Hiiro asks if he should catch the prey alone. Arnold agrees, saying that it will be faster and more reliable. V remarks that Hiiro is scary. Arnold says he hears something, and Hiiro demands he not avoid answering. But the man assures him that he is serious. Suddenly, something emerges from the water and throws Arnold into the air. Hiiro asks if this is the leader of the cow crabs. Arnold yells that it is a gathering of crabs. Hiiro asks what this means, and he explains that when cow crabs are scared, they gather together and use their camouflage to look like one crab. Arnold says that they were hiding in the river when he fell in, and assures them that they have no choice but to fight. Hiiro sarcastically replies that it is such a grief and tells Miura and V to go down. The crabs attack and Hiiro asks if they are hydraulic cutters. He says that under normal conditions they can go through steel. The young man claims that he is sorry to say this, but it doesn't work on him. I runs past him, and he calls her Antenna Girl. She cuts off his claws and, landing on the ground, declares that she will help. Arnold yells that Vi is really good, and Hiiro says that he thought the spear was just for show. Vi jumps to attack again, and Mir watches all of this. She grabs her clothes in anger and thinks that she will become stronger. Iru tells the Antenna Girl and the old man to go back, stating that he will finish him now. He writes oil and then fire to set him on fire. There is a big explosion, and Hiiro returns to them. V asks if Hiiro uses fire magic. Arnold replies that he knows nothing about it. He explains that Hiiro does not pronounce any words of power, but simply draws some incomprehensible words, and the capital is beyond his understanding, and is a unique magic. V says Hiiro is amazing. She asks him if he used oil, and he says yes. She explains that she can smell it. Arnold tells V that she did a great job for discovering it. He admits that he is the only one of the dog race who did not sense it. He asks her what race her father was, but V says she does not know. Hiiro asks him if something is wrong. Arnold replies that something is bothering him. He explains that there should not be a race whose sense of smell is better than a dog's. He says that V is not of the dog race. Hiiro asks if there were any like them before. Arnold says that they are the three great races of beastmen, but they are related to the mythical beasts that were their ancestors. He says that one of them was the golden foxes, who had special cases where they inherited the nine-tailed trait, and they could freely change their body. Hiiro asks if beastmen can do anything victorious, and Arnold replies that the nine-tails are a special case. He explains that under normal circumstances it is impossible, and even if it were possible, there would be a high chance of them becoming feral. Hiiro thinks it is a shame that they are extinct. Arnold states that he will go cook the crabs, and Hiiro tells them to hurry. Arnold, after preparing the food, asks V if she started her journey at age 7. He asks her how old she is now, and she hesitantly replies that she is 14. He asks why she is so hesitant. Arnold asks again if she's 14 and says that he could tell by her figure, but he will keep that to himself. He says that unlike Muir, she is well developed. Muir, hearing this, calls him. He asks Vi if she started searching alone. She says that she did. She tells him that she was with someone, but they chose to leave when they heard her story. She admits that finding people who accept her makes her so happy. Arnold thinks that this smile is unfairly beautiful. Muir asks if there is any information about his father. V shows the spear and says that this is all. V says that her mother said that people were after her father, so he left to protect her. Arnold asks if that made her want to see him even more. She says that she will protect her father. She says that's why she became stronger. Arnold pats her on the head and tells her she's amazing and works hard. Muir thinks she's amazing. Vi lets go of her head towards Hiiro, and he asks why. Arnold states that he can't do that and says that Vi wants him to pet her head. Hiiro says that he refuses. Hiiro says that she is not the only one who worked hard, and although there were things he liked, she decided for herself how she should live. He asks if she did it to be appreciated. Arnold says he can't even hit her on the head, but V says it's okay. Arnold turns to V, but she says it's as Hiiro said. She claims she didn't go on the journey to be appreciated. She let go of her head again, and he asks what it was for then. V replies that she just wants him to pet her head. Muir yells at her for being so rude. Arnold asks her if something is wrong, but she replies that nothing is wrong. Hiiro says that he will not pet her unless he has a reason to do so. V asks what she has to do to get petted. Hiiro replies that he doesn't want to do that. He asks why he has to pet her head, but sees the twinkle in her eyes and gives in. He tells her to do a good thing, and if she does it, she will think about it. V states that he will work hard. He thinks about it and asks what he means by a good thing, and he tells her to think about it herself. Together, the boys walked through the forest and talked about what they had started talking about at the hot springs. Arnold laughed at little Muir, while Hiiro and V talked about how hungry they were. Suddenly, Vi noticed something unusual and turned around sharply. The girl's strange actions were noticed by Muir, who asked Vi if something had happened. Ignoring the team's questions, the girl went straight into the forest, ignoring Muir's words. Arnold later noticed this, and he also wondered if something had happened. Not hearing an answer from Vi, the boys followed the girl, where they saw something completely different from what they might have expected. Vi stood right next to the body of the wounded monster and looked at the boys. At this time, the will loudly growled at them. Arnold immediately recognized the wounded monster as a sky wolf. As Vi began to treat the monster's wounds, Muir noted how terrible they were. Hiiro thought about the sky wolf being a B-class monster. The boys agreed with him and said that the monster was quite strong. Vi sat by the monster's face and said that they needed to help it. Hiiro began to gather power on the tip of his finger. The boy told V to move away from the monster when his power was gathered. Yor turned to Arnold tensely and asked if Hiiro was going to help this monster. Arnold said that he highly doubted it, because Hiiro would never help unless he could get something in return. Suddenly, the man saw something completely different from what he expected. Hiiro had completely cured the monster, which was gratefully licking the boy's face. Arnold reached for his weapon and asked Hiiro who he was and what he had done to their friend. He said that their hero would never help them for nothing. Arnold ordered the guy to show his true colors. Hiiro said that the man was too loud. Iroh turned slightly towards the man and asked if he was asking him why the boy had cured the monster. He stated that Arnold would most likely not understand him. Arnold tensed up when he heard this. Hiiro calmly turned around and said that he had cured the monster because it looked so beautiful. After these words, Arnold and Muir could only stare at the boy in silence, perplexed. Hiiro said that he loved dogs, and he wanted to see how he moved with wings. After these words, the guys were able to breathe a sigh of relief, because Hiiro did this only for his own interest, just like with food and books. At this time, V was carefully stroking the wolf. She turned to Hiiro and thanked him. The guy said that they did not need to thank him because everything was as the old man said. He cured the monster, pursuing his own goals. After that, Hiiro turned to the wolf and told him to run a little. The monster rushed forward, spreading its wings. Hiiro smiled admiringly. Muir was surprised that this guy could smile. The girl blushed. Arnold noticed this and asked if she had a fever. Suddenly, Vi noticed that this wolf needed to go somewhere. Muir asked in surprise if the girl really understood what the monster was saying. Vi calmly confirmed this. Arnold wondered how strange their new acquaintance was. The girl listened to the monster, then said that he was heading to a place far to the east. There is an institution there called Buscador. Many of the wolf's friends were killed there. There were also many other monsters there, but a strange drug was used on them, which caused them to change, and then they died. Vi said that his family was the only survivor. Mir asked why they would do something like that. Arnold noted that it was now clear where the wound came from, because the monster tried to escape and was wounded. Vi said that the wolf wanted to save them, so their paths diverged here. The girl told the boys about it. Arnold asked her if she really wanted to help the monster if she was leaving so suddenly. The girl said that she wanted to help his family. Arnold said that it might sound rude, but she didn't have to help him. The girl understood this, but she couldn't do anything. She said she would help him because she wanted to, and that was the whole reason. She said that a family should always be together. Arnold remembered that V was looking for his father. The girl sat on the wolf and told the boys not to follow her, because she could handle it herself. Arnold wanted to object, but the girl said that it didn't last long. But she had fun. She smiled and thanked them, and then immediately left, leaving them alone. Suddenly, Arnold noticed something strange. Mir said that she was weak, so she had no right to say such things, but she wanted to help Vi and the wolf. She couldn't fight like V Uncle or Shiro, but she couldn't stand aside. Noticing this, Arnold looked at Hiro. The boy turned to Arnold and asked if he had forgotten that they were being followed. The man said that he remembered that, as well as the fact that Hiro would not help for no reason. Arnold said that that's why he wouldn't force Hiro to go with him, since he was heading to Buscador. Muir started crying. Arnold said he enjoyed the trip very much, and he admits that Hiro is strong. However, he didn't want the guy to get into even more trouble because of them. He said that no matter how Hiro answered, he would accept it. Muir nodded. Hiro said he remembered that he owed the old man. Arnold didn't understand what he was talking about. Hiro reminded him of the fight with the pigtail. He said that he would repay this debt, but after that, he owed nothing. So next time Arnold has to provide payment if he wants something. Hiro was sure that Buscador meant seeker in Spanish. He had heard about it and could conclude that they were experimenting on monsters there. He assumed that there was interesting research and materials there. Arnold noticed that Hiro wasn't always honest with himself. The boy asked if the old man hadn't understood something. Muir said that the boy could be nice. At this time, Vi and the wolf were already there. The girl decided that she would give this wolf a name. Because of his wings, she began to call him Winged. After that, they rushed forward together. At this time, the boss of the establishment was sleeping, and his subordinate tried to wake him up. The subordinate took out a donut, after which the man immediately woke up and reached for the food, which the subordinate quickly removed. The boss told Pevin that it was mean, and one day he would make candy out of it and eat it. The guy said that it would be another time, but now he brought the report. They needed to increase the number of test subjects. Right now, they only have a wolf left, and one of them escaped during the day, so there are only 7 of them. Soon the others would find out, so Pevin wanted the boss to talk to them. The man said it was too much trouble and he didn't like them, so he wouldn't. Pevin picked up the food and said that he couldn't do whatever he wanted, so he would take the sweets with him. Suddenly, the alarm went off. They were informed that intruders had arrived. From the energy, they realized that it was the escaped wolf and another person. The boss asked if they could be caught alive, as that would be a good way to test it. Pevin said they still couldn't control it. The boss asked Pevin what he was talking about, because failures are also part of experiments. At this time, the winged one was leading Vi around the building. The girl asked him if he was being held there. The further Vi went, the more horrible things she saw. Many dead monsters lay in cages. The evil girl said she would destroy this place. Suddenly, there was laughter behind the door. The boss was standing behind the door and talking about their guest. He didn't think that the intruder would be a cute girl. He also pointed at the wolf. He never thought that the wolf had returned to be their test subject. He called him stupid. The wolf got angry and rushed at the boss, but suddenly there was a flash. Vi was scared. The boss said that the monster was too stupid and this was just a precaution for protection. Vi rushed towards the wolf. The boss said that she shouldn't touch him, because then he would hit her too. He said that he was the head of the Buscador laboratory named Manga. You also introduced yourself. The boss said he saw her somewhere. He snapped his fingers, saying it made no difference. A hole appeared in the ground, and the monster fell into it. V reached for it, but didn't make it. She asked the boss to bring the monster back. The boss laughed and said that the wolf would die if the girl did anything. The girl took out her gun and said she wouldn't let him. The boss said she would have to accept the conditions, and then he wouldn't touch the wolf. The girl asked if he promised. The man promised. You asked about the boss's conditions. After some time, Vi stood next to a cage full of monsters. Suddenly, she saw a winged man lying unconscious in a bag. She asked him to wait for her. The boss showed the girl a black box and said that there was some kind of creature inside. If Vi defeats him, he will release the wolf. Vi prepared for battle when suddenly a demonic monster, a black chimera, burst out of the box. The boss said that now the monster, the fruit of vicious experiments, should go crazy from its nature. The monster screamed loudly. Vi realized that he was crying. The snakes from the monster burst forward. The girl beat them and apologized. She used fire techniques in the battle with the monster. He even noticed that she was able to hurt him. Even though the Black Chimera is equal to an S-rank monster, he turned to the director who's eating sweets and said that now was not the time for that. The boss said that such wounds are not a problem for the Chimera because it is recovering. Suddenly, the monster became covered with skin again. Vi noticed something strange. Peven told the director that it would take a long time and they would lose control of the Chimera. Nal snapped his fingers, telling him to use it. The man turned to Vi and told him to look there. Suddenly, she saw how something was being injected into the winged one. The girl said that the boss promised, when suddenly she received an attack on herself. The boss asked if she had backed out at the last moment. The girl stood up, but she began to shake. Vi didn't understand why she couldn't move. The boss laughed and said that she was paralyzed because of the poison, and S-rank monsters died in seconds because of it. He said that Vi should have been dead, but she escaped the lethal dose of poison. However, it will still kill her. The wolves in the cage began to bark loudly. The boss covered his ears because it was too loud. He ordered the Chimera to kill the wolves. Vi tried to stop him, but the monster crushed them all. The boss laughed and ordered to kill Vi too. The monster approached the girl. Vi grabbed the weapon and was able to attack him. Everyone was amazed because she could move. The monster fell to the ground, and after him, Vi fell too. The girl apologized to the Winged One for not being able to protect everyone. She said that the Winged One should run. The boss laughed, saying that Vi was able to attack the Chimeras, but she used up all her strength. Peven compared it to his, which would soon fade but burn brightest in the end. He said that time was up and they no longer controlled the Chimera. The situation got out of control. The monster quickly jumped up and was about to attack the powerless Vi. There was a loud sound. Vi opened her eyes and saw that the Winged One had taken the full impact. The boss asked how this was possible, since there was a fence there. Peven noticed that V's last attack had created a hole in the fence. The girl asked the Winged One why he hadn't run away. The monster turned to her and thanked her for helping him and his family. He said that he would go to his friends and family. He wished for V to survive. Immediately after that, the monster fell down dead. The girl cried over his body and apologized. The boss picked his nose and said that this farewell was very sad. He said that where there is a meeting, there will be a farewell, and this is inevitable. He said it was a good lesson for Vi. Peven asked the boss to look the other way. The girl stood alone, her eyes burning with rage. A little earlier, Arnold heard the voice of the Winged One. He said that they should hurry. Hiiro showed where they could go, saying that Vi could have made this hole. They went ahead and told Miura to wait for them there. The girl asked if she could go with them. Arnold said that they don't know what dangers await them, so they can't take her. Hiiro said that he doesn't mind taking her if she wants to go. Arnold said that even Hiiro should have noticed how sinister this place is. Hiiro said that they came here because of Muir, so he didn't understand why he couldn't let her go all the way. The girl was touched. Iroh asked if Arnold planned to spoil her all the time and only show her the good side of life. He said that he thought it was important because it was better to have such an experience. That was what Hiiro believed in. Even if Miura regretted it, it would be her own choice. All Arnold had to do was help her, regardless of her decisions. He said that Arnold should let her choose her path. Even if it was wrong, all she needed was to go back. If there is no way back, then it is better to give in. He said that at least he would regret it if his path was not chosen by him. If he is disappointed, it should be his choice. This will prevent him from being completely disappointed. Arnold understood what Hiiro said. He told Mir not to stray too far from them. Arnold pointed out that they could come in through the window. Iroh checked with magic and found a barrier. He knew that such an establishment should have a security system. He didn't want them to be noticed, so he created a hole in the barrier and walked through. Arnold said he didn't see the point in asking how Hiiro did it. They walked down the corridor. As Hiiro had thought, there were experiments going on there. He wondered what kind of research they were doing with these life forms. He looked out and saw a man running somewhere. Hiiro grabbed him and held him down. The man asked who they were. Hiiro threatened him with his sword and told him to answer questions and not to move. He said that the girl with golden hair and the wolf should be there. Arnold doubted whether Hiiro was really just a teenager, because he looked like a hired killer. Arnold looked out the window and saw that the sky was clear and the moon was full. He called to Hiiro to hurry because they needed to stop. Hiiro said he wanted to ask something else. After a while, they burst into the room. They met the boss and Pevin, who were running away. The boss asked who they were, to which Arnold responded by hitting him. After a while, they were both unconscious, and the boys ran forward. On the street, they saw a horrific scene. A lot of entrails were lying on the ground. They asked Vi what happened there. With her body twisted, Vi sent him what was left of the chimera, her battle driven by rage and sadness. Arnold noticed that Vi had 3 tails. He didn't understand what was going on. Hiiro didn't even recognize her. Suddenly, Arnold noticed the full moon. He said that on the night of the full moon, the beastmen have more power. The same is true for the half-breeds who have their blood in their veins, awakening and turning into a beast. There are half-breeds who have mastered this and know how to use it. However, they do not usually use this power, and the full moon tries to take control of the beastmen's power, causing the heart to subside and making them stronger. Hiiro said that if she had not seen this, she would have gained a huge amount of power. They didn't know if they were talking about the right V. It definitely made her lose her cool. They could see it for themselves. The transformation into a beast was completely out of control. V was unconscious. Muir said she must be sad. The girl said she had to stop her, but Arnold told Muir to stand behind her. Suddenly, Vi screamed and rushed to attack Arnold. She threw the man across the room. Hiiro was surprised by her strength. The girl then rushed at Hiiro, but he dodged and said that she couldn't reach him. He was about to use magic. Hiiro stated that, with such powerful attacks, she would need time for the next one, so she should give up. With a quick jerk, Vi moved away from there and found herself on the roof behind Hiiro. She was smiling. The guy said she was too fast and this job could be difficult. At this time, the boss said that he finally remembered. He stated that he had seen the girl before. Pevin asked if the boss knew about her. There was a time when a girl was being bothered by giant elephant-like monkeys. That's when Vi showed up. Pevin said that the monkeys were A-rank monsters, and Vi was able to resist the chimera. The boss said that Vi returned to the village dragging 2 monkeys behind her. A girl her age defeated 2 A-rank monsters on her own. He also said that she ate them all by herself that same day. The boss couldn't understand how she could fit it into her little body. He wanted to cut her open. Pevin asked if her appetite was something unusual for her to become famous. The boss said that it was enough. He remembered that her name was Vinka Gio. Hiiro revealed her stats, which were high. He said that it was not every day that you see something like that. He can't even miss a single attack. Hiiro turned to Arnold and asked if he was alive. The man came out and said that it was cruel, because he also had more strength from turning into a beast. Hiiro said that they would start at the same time. Arnold reminded them that they were fighting against V. He told Hiiro to dodge if his life depended on it. Hiiro said that Arnold could say whatever he wanted, but he believed that they would not die from it. V rushed to attack. Arnold blocked the attack with his sword, but V did not retreat. Hiiro asked the man to restrain her. The boy channeled magic into Arnold's sword. After that, the man couldn't move his sword. Hiiro noticed that Vi dodged the spell point blank. Her intuition was good. Arnold was swinging his sword, trying to move. Hiiro apologized and told the man to wait a bit. He told Arnold not to worry, because he could get it all back. Suddenly, he realized that all he had to do was get it all back. However, being human, he was too slow for that. He told Arnold that there was a way to return V to normal. There was one problem, though. He said he couldn't hit her himself. He said that Arnold came into play and had to stop her for a moment. If Hiiro's magic could reach her, it would be all over. Immobilizing Vi was a foolish request, but Hiiro could say that he could stop her. even despite her strength. Arnold said that it seemed impossible, and that was common sense. Hiiro chuckled and said that he would change that sense with his magic. Muir asked to be allowed to help her too. Arnold exclaimed that she couldn't, because Vi was out of her mind right now, and also stronger than all of them. Muir said that she knew she was weak, but she wanted to help Vi. Arnold understood how this kind girl felt. He wanted to say something more gentle, but Muir knew that would just be in the way. However, she saw that Vi was crying. She could tell it was coming from inside her. She felt pain, sadness, and guilt. Arnold was surprised that Muir could feel Vi's emotions. Muir had always been a shy girl who couldn't speak up for herself. He was proud of her for growing up. He said he wouldn't stop Muir. But there was a battle going on now and she couldn't help in the fight. However, Muir could tell how Vi felt. At this time, the girl went on the attack. In the building now, the boss called the name Whiskey Gin, or something like that. Pevin said it was suspicious because the boss showed no interest in her, and even forgot her name or remembered it incorrectly. Another worker came up and asked the boss what had happened. Pevin recognized the voice of Liaison from the organization. The man confirmed this and said that being part of the wall is a strange hobby. The boss said the man was wrong and he wanted him out. Pevin apologized and said they were stuck in the wall because of circumstances. Liaison spoke about what he had learned. A group led by a boy in a red robe along with a girl in shorts and a breastplate wielding a spear. It told his boss that he'd invited problematic guests. The man asked what Liaison was talking about. The Moonlight Vinca was their target and great enemy. It was a great stroke of luck. He said that an urgent matter had come up that he had to attend to, and then he left. Pevin said Liaison was a hard worker. The boss couldn't figure out what was good about working for this organization. This organization was called the Beastman Cage. Arnold tried to attack Vi, but she dodged. He found himself behind her, thinking that Hiiro's magic was indeed diverse. As soon as Vi noticed him, she stopped his attack with her tail. She threw him on the floor and wanted to attack. Suddenly, Muir screamed at Vi not to do this because they were not enemies. The girl named all three with heaviness. She remembered the winged one, causing her to lose control again. She swung hard. Hiiro and Muir shouted at Arnold to dodge. The man didn't have time to do anything, and Vi hit him right in the stomach, from where blood gushed. Muir ran in that direction. Vi hit the girl, causing Muir to fall to the ground in tears. After that, Vi also started crying. Muir realized that it was Vi who was suffering the most. She told herself to be patient, because she couldn't see Vi as an object of hatred. She began to slowly approach the girl. Muir said that she understood that Vi was sad and hurt. She came closer, saying that everything was fine and she was not afraid. Muir hugged Vi, who started to cry. Muir said that they were all waiting for her, so she should come back soon. Vi hugged Muir back tightly, apologizing for what she had done. Hiiro watched silently from the side. Vi said she was truly sorry for what she did. Arnold said she shouldn't worry, because Hiiro's magic had healed him. Vi said she didn't want to hurt anyone, but her body was acting on its own. She tried her best, but her body wouldn't listen to her. However, when Muir hugged her, Vi felt so much warmth that she was able to return to normal. Muir blushed after these words. Hiiro wondered what happened to the girl at that moment. He saw her ears emitting particles of light. Arnold said that they were also to blame, because if they had come earlier, they could have saved the Sky Wolves. The girl stroked the body of the winged one. She said she was glad they came. Vi suggested burying Sky Wolves in a beautiful place. Arnold said it was a good idea. After that, he turned to Hiiro and said that he was going to destroy this place. Hiiro said it was a good coincidence, since he was also planning to do something special there. Suddenly, Vi saw something moving under the winged one's body. Suddenly, blood started flowing from there. After which, a small wolf crawled out from under the monster's body. Arnold noticed that the wolf was pregnant. Vi picked up the puppy and told the winged one that she would definitely protect this child. Suddenly, the boss came up and said that he was not interested in such melodramas. He smiled broadly. Seeing him, Vi quickly stood up while Muir supported her. Arnold said that Vi shouldn't force herself, because after being berserker, the recoil would hurt her. The boss laughed and said that was encouraging. He pressed a button and said that they would all die together. Hiiro asked what that meant. The next moment, explosions were heard throughout the building. The guys were very surprised. Hiiro used word magic to protect himself and the boys from the debris. Nongol noted that Hiiro was using unusual magic. This was quite unexpected, because he did not think that they would be able to defend themselves. However, if he pressed the switch again, the self-destruct mechanism would be fully activated. He didn't know what Hiiro or V could do, but he would be buried alive either way. He said that it was indeed a waste of energy. Suddenly, someone exclaimed that the boss was wrong. The man looked at them in surprise. Muir said that there was no such thing as a waste of energy in this world. She explained that lack of effort deserved only ridicule. That's true if the effort isn't rewarded, but Muir believed that hard work was necessary to move forward. Muir said that's the reason there's no such thing as wasted effort. The boys agreed and supported Muir's speech. The boss began to squeeze the button furiously, saying how annoying it was. Pevin said that if the director was going to press the button, they should start evacuating. The boss screamed that he wanted to see them all die, but now he didn't care. He slammed the door, saying goodbye to them. After that, he screamed at Pevin to press the button. Immediately after that, the building began to fall apart. Arnold exclaimed that they should run because everything was falling apart. Hiiro told them to go through B Corp, and that he had business in A Corp to take care of. Arnold asked what Hiiro was talking about, and then realized that he was referring to what he had talked about with the researcher. While threatening the worker, Hiiro asked if there was a library in this institution, or any other place where they kept research materials. The worker told him about room number 5. Once he got out of the A building and entered the research testing area, he would find the room in the far corner of A building, if he stood with his back to B building. Hiiro asked if that meant this place wasn't in B building. The researcher explained that B building was where they kept new medicine and equipment. Arnold said that no matter the situation, Hiiro is stubborn as always. He said that the guy must run to a safe place. After that, he told the girls to leave. They told Hiiro that they would meet outside. Now the boy could proceed to the main goal. He walked into the room and noted that it was an archive. Usually he would have preferred to spend more time there and take a good look around. Suddenly, he heard a loud explosion. The guy realized that the sound was from the direction where the old man and the girls had run. At this time, Arnold asked if his companions were okay. Mir said that she was fine, and V supported him. Suddenly, Arnold noticed that something was wrong with V. At that moment, the girl noticed that the puppy was shaking. Vi remembered the poison that was in the winged one. She told the others that the wolf was poisoned, so the poison could have affected the child too. The girl asked the puppy if it hurt. Arnold said that the researcher Hiddle threatened said that B building was built to develop new medicines. Mir said that there was definitely an antidote or medicine there that would help the puppy. She suggested that Vi look for it together. The girl agreed, wanting to save the wolf at any cost. Arnold wondered how Hiiro was doing. At this time, the guy collected a full bag of things and decided it was time to go. Suddenly, he heard a crunch, after which the ceiling around him collapsed. He felt it was close. However, in the current situation, he did not know whether he could get through the rubble. He was looking for a hole, but if the tunnel collapsed in the process, he would be crushed. He found something and decided to check it out. He rose high into the sky and gasped. He never thought he could fly in the sky. He used magic. He thought it was not the time to admire. Hiiro wondered where in the hull he could land. Suddenly, he saw strange people in cloaks. Hiiro recognized them as a Beastman cage. He thought he needed to meet the old man's group. At this time, the boys were in a panic, not knowing where the antidote was. Muir held the flasks and asked her uncle what to do. Arnold also did not know the answer. Suddenly, Hiiro opened a door and said that he heard their voices there. He asked them why they were still in the building. When they saw him, they all looked at the guy pitifully. Hiiro asked what happened. After some time, the boy cured the puppy with magic. The happy wolf took off on wings. Vi hugged him, saying that she was glad. The girl thanked Hiiro. The guy said that now was not the time for that, and she could thank him later. Arnold said they had to hurry to avoid being buried alive. Hiiro said there was something else. He said that the place was surrounded by a cage of beastmen. Even if they managed to escape, they would have to deal with a lot of enemies. Arnold asked what they should do. Suddenly, the puppy went somewhere, barking loudly. Vi translated that he asked them to follow him, because he would help them escape. The boys looked at each other. The puppy began to scratch the door. Arnold opened it and asked what was wrong with this room. They walked in, and Arnold said that this must be the living room. V pointed out that the puppy was saying that there was something under the bed. Arnold quickly moved the bed, and an escape route in the form of a hatch opened up before them. Hiiro praised Winged. Together they went underground. Hiiro noticed that they had made a water channel here, which the puppy sensed. Arnold said that the wolf helped them. Suddenly he turned to Hiiro and asked why he was carrying this canvas. Suddenly Hiiro noticed that his research materials were missing. They asked if the boy didn't know it was torn. Hiiro realized it happened when he got airborne. He didn't realize that his luggage was lighter. He fell to the ground, asking what all this was for. At this time, a man completely wrapped in bandages ordered to examine every stone that would lead them to the tracks. He wanted to find the red robe. By this time, the boys had come outside and were having lunch. Their table was huge. Lai asked Krilitik if he liked it. The girl decided to name him Krilitik. She addressed the puppy, saying that she was going to look after him well. Hiiro noticed that Wing was still a child, and they couldn't let him get left behind. He told Vi to try harder. Vi corrected the guy, saying that the puppy's name was Krilitik. For Hiiro, it was Winged. They said the puppy would choose what he liked best. After that, the puppy sat on Hiiro's lap. Vi came up and said that he couldn't pet only Winged. Hiiro said that he wouldn't do it. Hiiro noted that Winged is tame, and if Vi wants to be petted, he already said so. Arnold stated that Vi found Winglet and they were only there because she could hear his voice. Hiiro couldn't deny that Vi had done a lot. After that, he stroked the girl and asked if it was enough. Vi said that she felt good. Mira blushed, thinking that it looked beautiful. Arnold said that Vi seemed happy because she didn't have parents to pet her. Mira agreed and said that Vi was lonely. After eating, they decided to wash the dishes. The girl asked Vi if it was cool. At that time, she was jealous. Vi said Hiiro should have petted Mira too. The girl said she didn't do anything, but she would have liked it. She decided that she would not lose to Vi. Arnold said that the girl washes dishes very well. Hiiro's classmates said that this time the report came from a research facility. Buscador was attacked by bandits. The girl asked if the guy was talking about someone else. It was possible, but such an appearance was rare. Remembering the features, they wondered how Okamura was doing. They felt guilty towards him. Another girl said that he should think about how to become stronger. The second girl agreed with her, talking about the rumors about the war with the Beastmen. Hiiro looked at the map and said that the nearest city was Surs. That was their next destination. Arnold asked Hiiro to help them there. Hiiro said that there was nothing they could do, so they should defeat the enemies quickly. There was chaos in the land of demons. The servant said that she now humbly represents Her Majesty Evium. At the roundtable meeting, the girl said she would be straightforward. People were able to successfully summon their heroes. This was revealed to her by the mole of the human territory, Tekel. The Dark Man said that this explained her absence from the conference. He asked if he was right. Evim confirmed this and said that his absence was the result of recent movements through the beast's territory. The other girls smiled and said that that was true. So it would be better for them to fear the beastmen than the humans. The guy with the weird hair said that a while ago a report came in late that his subordinators were under attack. He immediately struck back, although it took some time. Compared to the beastmen, their physical skills are superior by an order of magnitude, and their transformation techniques are quite dangerous. She could say that they are quite suitable for war. The man said that this strange ability compensates for their weakness in magic, but it is still in the middle of its development, so they should strike now. Evrim refused, after which she said that they would not take part in the war, and she had said this earlier. The man asked if she was crazy, since both factions were killing each other, and they needed to get rid of the danger before they became a serious threat. Evim said that if they did that, they would simply be following in the footsteps of the previous king. If they tried to resolve the conflict with war, it would only create more conflict. It would destroy their idea. The man asked if she meant that they should relax and accept their actions. Yu said that if it was achievable, the ideal solution would be to unite with other races, or at least find a way to ensure that no one had to suffer. The man said it was idealistic. The girl agreed and said that if they left it as is, the blood would continue to flow. Neither humans nor beastmen would forgive the atrocities committed by the previous king, Brother Evim. But she wanted to get rid of this hatred. The man exclaimed that it was impossible. He asked if Evim didn't know that they were killing their brothers. They certainly couldn't agree with her ideals about that. He asked if it would be when they were all dead. If they did as Her Majesty said, they would simply be putting all the demons in danger. The girl found nothing to answer this. At the end of the meeting, 2 demons remained in the room. One of the demons, who looked like an animal, asked Aquinas what he thought of Her Majesty's idealistic plan. The boy remained silent. Aquinas said this was too naive. However, if there was a world where pain did not exist, he would like to see it. But as long as it was only them fighting for it, they would never face anything but the cruelty of the present. The second demon agreed with Aquinas. The guy said that if only there was someone who was impartial to race, someone who could act as a mediator and build a connection between the races, everything would be different. The demon asked if, despite this, Aquinas was still going to support Her Majesty. The boy agreed. The demon said he had sworn to support Aquinas. Having a go-between now was truly idealistic. Together, the boys fought the cactus-like monsters. Arnold shouted to V to kill the monsters with one blow. The girl agreed. Errol took out his weapon and told Mirror to move away, after which the girl obediently moved away. Hiiro used word magic, extension. At this time, a guy was holding a brush. He was looking at the guys fighting. He thought it was moonlight, and a guy in a red robe using strange magic. Arnold sheathed his sword and said that they had finally figured it out. At that moment, Vi noticed something strange. Muir turned to the girl and asked what happened. Dee stared into the forest, then said everything was fine and ran away. Hiiro also looked into the forest. At this time, the boy who held the brush was hiding behind a tree. Together, the boys went on. The stranger said it was close, and as he said, quite interesting. He wondered what would happen if he tried to contact them. After some time, they reached the border town of Serge. Hiiro asked what all this meant. There were a lot of people there. Mir guessed that today was some kind of holiday. Arnold remembered that today was the first day of Urui, so it was the Rear Festival. Hiiro thought that if he remembered correctly, Urui was August and Rirui was summer. He realized that it was just a summer festival. Arnold said that they should stay at the hotel today, and since they were here, they should enjoy the festival. Hiiro thought that he had never been to one in Japan. It was quite a refreshing feeling, but the crowd and the heat irritated him. Suddenly, Arnold grabbed Hiiro by the shoulder and said that you need to love a good festival. The guy got even angrier. Arnold said that Hiiro shouldn't look so angry because they even have very popular shops here. Hiiro asked if that meant that the food here was very good. Arnold said that he was sure Hiiro would like it. Suddenly, the boy walked forward. The old man asked where he was going. Hiiro told Arnold to hurry up and show the way, because all the good food could be bought. Arnold didn't know what to do with this impudent guy. Vi and Muir were happy to have a good meal and a good time. Together they went to the festival. They ate delicious food and played many different competitions and games. Hiiro thought about what festivals were like. He decided that since they had good food, it wasn't that bad. Suddenly, he bumped into someone. Someone might have stepped on his foot, which made the boy increasingly irritated. During the walk, a small child smeared his food on Hiiro's coat, after which he burst into tears. The evil guy thought it was hopeless. He wondered if he could make all these people disappear. Suddenly, the boy heard Arnold loudly admiring. The old man was looking at the shark sandwiches of happiness. Hiiro noticed the long line and asked if they were really that tasty. Arnold said they were talking about the lucky sharks. He said that the lucky sharks were found in the Great Azure Sea and lived in its depths. They rarely leave the deep water. The shark's entire body is a beautiful pink color. They can only occasionally appear near the coast. Everything about it is edible, from the horn of jade green on its head to its teeth. Hiiro said he understood, and then asked what they tasted like. Arnold reminded the guy of the dogfish Hiiro ate on their first meeting, and then declared that it tasted much better. Hiiro said that Arnold should buy it right now. Suddenly, he pointed the guy to the snack delivery system. Hiiro was surprised to see a lottery there. Everyone had one try. Arnold said there were 8 more people in line. He said their chances were slim. Hiiro told Arnold not to laugh at him, because right before his eyes there was something better than a dogfish thigh, and the old man suggested giving in. Arnold said that with such a line they would get nothing. He wanted to say something about common sense, when suddenly Hiiro exclaimed that he would distort this common sense. He decided to use word magic to win the lottery. The problem was the word that had to be written. Using luck, he didn't know if it would increase or decrease. In the case of the loophole, all the balls could fall out, so he didn't know if it would work. He told the girls to hold out their hands, then used a fourfold increase in probability. Together, they stood in line. Slowly, the people moved forward. And then it was the boys' turn. As Mir had said, the old man noted that there were only 4 dishes left. At that moment, they spun the lottery. Everyone looked at the machine with interest. Hiiro took out the ball, after which he laughed and exclaimed that nothing was impossible for her. They ended up taking everything. Arnold said Hiiro used his magic on them as insurance, but he didn't know if it was worth it. He knew it was good for them, but magic was pretty dishonest. Hiiro told him to talk less and chew more. Hiiro took a bite and marveled that he could smell the sea waves in a way he had never imagined. The tender meat and crisp vegetables were melded together by a sweet and salty sauce and toasted bread. The guy thought that this was true happiness. After a while, he exclaimed that his belly was full. Mir and Vi thanked Hiiro, saying that it was very tasty. Arnold asked if it was time for Shiro to explain something about his magic. He asked what he was actually writing and how he made all these effects happen. He said that Hiiro had controlled luck this time. The boy confirmed it. He thought that for the opportunity to eat something like that, he should tell them a little. Hiiro said that his magic is unique, and it is called word magic. He thinks that it must be unique. He writes words from his homeland, and he can use the effects that come from the meaning of these words. Arnold had never seen such symbols before, but he had heard of unique magic. But none of them were as strong as this one. Hiiro asked what he saw. Arnold told him about space manipulation magic, human mind control magic, monster control magic. They definitely seemed strong. Arnold asked if Hiiro could use similar magic with his. The boy said that it was possible. After that, Vi clapped in admiration. The guy said that his magic may be all-powerful, but that doesn't mean it's invincible. Arnold asked what that meant. Hiiro said he had no reason to tell this. The old man said it was true, and Hiiro was not the type to talk about his weaknesses. Hiiro said, that's who he is. Arnold asked where the guy was going. Hiiro said that he was tired, so he was going to the hotel. Arnold asked the girls where they wanted to go because he would agree with whatever they decided. They said it was fun, and they were already tired. The man gave a thumbs up. Hiiro told Arnold to hurry up and take them to the hotel, then called him a child lover. The old man asked the boy to stop, otherwise the nickname would become part of his status. At the hotel, the guys were met by a girl who asked how she could help. Hiiro asked if this girl was in Victoria's guild. The girl said that she was the older sister of the one who worked in the guild. The girl noted that there were no available rooms at the inn, so they came there to use the guild's rest room. Today was the last day of the festival, so there were a lot of people. She said she would give them a room for the day, but now they needed to sign the papers. After that, they were allowed into the room and wished a good rest. Arnold said that it was better than sleeping outside. He asked them what his plan was. Hiiro asked if he remembered correctly that in order to pass the outpost, a pass was needed. Arnold said that he and V had one. After that, V showed hers too. Hiiro asked how they got them. Arnold asked how Hiiro was going to cross the border without even knowing it. He explained that the pass was issued by the guild, and he could only get one, although it would take a long time. Normally, he would get everything from the guild and the king's lands in the human country of Victoria, and even then the process would take a week. From there, applications are sent through the human kingdom's guilds for review. Arnold asked how Hiiro could not know this. The guy said that he was not interested. It is said that the guildmaster is one of the 3 SS-ranked adventurers. This is obvious, but in addition to his extraordinary abilities and popularity, he is said to be on par with the beastmen in terms of physical strength. At this time in Victoria's guild, a man was smoking a pipe. He told Vale that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. The boy agreed with the master. It was Judum, Victoria's guildmaster. It was Judum, Victoria's guildmaster. Vale agreed that it had been a long time since they had seen each other. Judum smoked his pipe sternly. Suddenly he laughed. He told Vale to stop calling him sir. He reminded the boy that he was now an outstanding captain. Vale was taken aback and said that Judum had not changed. The guildmaster told the boy to sit down, asking what was wrong since the boy rarely came to see him. Vale said he came to ask for mercy. Judum told the guy to stop. He was retired. He told Vale to leave the front lines to the young. Vale asked what the man was talking about. Even now, there was no adventurer who could match Jude in strength. The man laughed and said that he thought too highly of him. Besides, he said that everything worked out. He meant heroes. He said it was their time. Vale exclaimed that that was the point. He reminded them that Judum had said to leave the front lines to the young, and he wanted the master to teach them how to fight. He said it was for the future of humanity. Judum exhaled smoke from his cigarette and repeated the boy's words, deep in thought. Judum told Vale that he didn't think he told him why he wanted to become a guildmaster. The thing is, the guildmaster has the same powers as the king in times of need. When he was an adventurer, he thought over and over again why this country, this continent in particular, was still waging war. He prayed daily for someone to bring him a gift. He relied on faith. But the conflicts between the races grew and dragged their country into war. He continued to fight because he had something to protect. Judum asked if Vale knew what the guildmaster was doing. He said that he had run away. He had defiled his name and run away, saving himself. He abandoned the country. As a result, the command system fell into chaos, and many lives were lost that could have been saved. The man was appointed to this position by the king himself. So Judum tried to become stronger, to become the new guildmaster. The king would give him the power to take decisive action if necessary, and so the guildmaster could act as the second king of the realm. Judum sought to take the only position where he could correct the king's mistakes. It was the best he could do as an adventurer, but the king made another mistake. Vale asked how Judum could say such a thing. The man asked why the king had sacrificed 3 daughters. He believed that one of them was barely alive now. Vale couldn't answer. It's true that the country is in danger. Judum was telling the king that there was one thing that needed to be done before the heroes could be summoned. Vale asked what he was talking about. Judum asked why they had abandoned the peace treaty with the demons. Vale was surprised. The man realized that the boy was not informed and the authorities were hiding it. Vale stopped and said that even if it was true, they should never trust demons. Judum said he understood the circumstances, but he didn't know why they didn't even seek dialogue. He knew they had often deceived them before, but before sacrificing their own daughters, it was worth trying other methods. Vale said that His Majesty was sad. Judum exclaimed that no one would simply mourn the death of their own daughters. Vale froze. He wondered if this was the willpower of a retired adventurer. Judum said that in any case, if he had just consulted him, he would have gone to where this conference was held. He said that in this world there are good beastmen and demons, but people just don't know about it. Vale countered that the Demon King still wanted to exterminate humans. Judum asked if that was true. The man explained that the demons had a new king. Vale was surprised. The man said that when the Demon King changes, the state's policies change as well, and this peace agreement was sent to them by the new king. And yet their king decided to call in strangers from another world. He didn't understand anything about other worlds and dimensions, but he didn't think they cared about their country, that they would risk their lives for it. Judum heard that there was a guy who was summoned and he left, saying that he didn't have to follow orders. He would trust this guy more than the heroes. Vale asked how that was possible. Judum said that if Vale didn't understand yet, then he was still inexperienced. The boy didn't have an answer. Judum told Vale to go away. He said that the boy should think carefully about what to do, because it was his turn to advise the king. The boy wanted to object, but Judum asked how a man could save the world if his friends and servants did not listen to him. At this time, Hiiro was asking who Judum Lankars was. Arnold said that he was an adventurer known as the King of Punches. He was a great guy, too good to be human. Hiiro thought that his name was too pompous. Hiiro stated that he would not expect such a thing from someone who had lost his status and prestige. Arnold said that Judum was not like that. He said that he had helped him once, even if it was a long time ago. Hiiro stated that he did not care. He was worried about how he would get through the outpost, and even if he could, it would take a long time. Arnold approached Vi and asked if she wanted to cross the border with them. The girl asked if she could. Arnold said she could if she wanted to. They knew she could find her father in the human lands. The girl said that her father was not on the land of people. That was what Vi thought. They were surprised by this answer. Vi said that she had good intuition. The guys asked if it was right to rely on intuition in such a situation. Vi also added that she wanted to be with the guys. This won Arnold over. They quickly agreed that the girl would go with them. Arnold said that for now they just need to deal with Hiro's problem. He saw Hiro's disapproving look and asked what it was. The guy said it was a disapproving look for a bad person. Arnold told the guy to stop, because it wasn't true. He said it wasn't that he had no options, since he could have crossed the border by air. Arnold was amazed to see that Hiro could fly, and said that it was unfair. Hiro said that he had attracted a lot of attention that time, and he didn't want to repeat that. They all knew that Hitro was talking about the Beastman's cage. They had to be careful. Suddenly, someone entered their room. The guy who was holding the brush recently said he thought he would be alone here, but he was glad to have good company. He said his name was Tenny Quiz. The guy stared at him. The guy said there were a lot of people outside, and it was wearing him out. He took off his hat, which surprised Arnold greatly. He had ears. The man asked if he was a beastman. The boy asked if they didn't like being around people like that. Arnold said they were always happy to see beastmen. He said he and Mir were the same. Tenny asked where Arnold's ears were. The man was taken aback. The guy apologized for the question. Arnold told him not to worry and to change the subject to something less dark. After a while, they talked about the border. Tenny asked if the two were human. Hiro was a tourist, and V was a companion. Arnold said that a tourist at a time like this seemed like a joke. Hiro asked if the old man was looking for a fight. Arnold said that people would laugh at the very idea of a person wanting to see the sights of the Beastman's lands. Hiro said that he is who he is, and if anyone gets in his way, he will go through them. Tenny laughed and said that Hiro is strange. Hiro said that Tenny himself was strange. He didn't hesitate to tell them that he was a beastman, and this was in human territory. He asked what Tenny would do if they were a group that opposed the beastman, like the beastman cage. It was careless. Tenny said it was no problem because he was confident in his ability to see into people's essence. The boys didn't believe him. Arnold hugged him and said he was a funny guy and he understood him completely. Hiro wondered if all beastmen were like that. V asked if he was the one on that hill. Everyone in the room went silent, and then Tenny admitted that he had been watching them. He was surprised that Vi noticed him. Vi had felt a similar presence that time. Arnold asked why he was watching. Tenny picked up the painting and said he painted it. Arnold said the guy was a good painter. Hiro said that didn't explain anything. Tani said he was a fan of the moonlight that was there. Hiro asked what he meant. Tenny said that Giovinca is Vi's middle name. Her name is well known among the Beastman Cage members and veteran adventurers. She is an S rank, the highest for those who are not in a guild. The boys were surprised. Hiro asked if Arnold knew. The man said he didn't know, because he doesn't communicate with other adventurers at all, especially because he's always with Muir. He had to do everything to preserve their identities. Hiro thought it was strange, because Tenny didn't show any joy when he entered the room and saw V. He was also calm, which looked suspicious. V said that everything was fine and she didn't sense any malice in him. Hiro knew that Vi's intuition could be trusted, but it wouldn't hurt to check Tenny's status. The boy asked Hiro what was wrong. The boy clasped his hands and said that everything was fine. Hiro thought that Tenny was hiding something. Even if the others believed him, he could only trust the beastmen from his own experience. Anyone could give for their own benefit. He hoped that wouldn't be a problem. 7 days earlier, heroes had gathered in the king's chamber. The king had sent them to guard the borders. The borders are at the beastmen's territory in the ocean. There are rarely any monsters there. Most do not appear in human territory. But this was a good opportunity. Captain Vale would not go with them, but they could use the communication artifacts. The king would take care of their expenses. He wanted them to broaden their horizons. The heroes agreed, not wanting to disappoint the king. The guys were thinking about how to get across the border. The cart approached the border. Suddenly, the guards recognized them as an animal cage. They asked why they wanted to go into the beastman's territory. The chief said that the guards should not say such nonsense. He asked if the guards really thought they wanted to get into that area. It didn't even seem like a joke. The guard asked why they had come. The man said about the investigation. He asked if the guy in red and the company of beastmen had passed by. There should also be moonlight with them. They were taken aback. The guards didn't know what he was talking about. The man laughed and said that he had beaten them to it and they wouldn't cross the border because he would cause a bloodbath. The guards were scared. The man told them not to interfere with the capture. Guards said they had received complaints about the animal cage. Their hunt for beastmen was causing problems for the guards. The man said they couldn't let them go. The guards said they couldn't allow the man to be captured without permission. They said they were the state army, so the man couldn't go against the kingdom. The man was angry. At this time, the boys watched as the animal cage conflicted with the guards. The guards wouldn't allow hunting in such a place. The commotion could attract powerful monsters. Hiiro thought that the man's burns looked healed, and if he had only used potions, he wouldn't have healed so quickly. This meant that Firebender's wounds healed faster. Teeny said he had a good plan. He took something out of his bag and started drawing. Arnold asked what he was doing. When asked, he told them to just look. Hiiro noticed that he was drawing with magic. He painted a small bird that rose from the canvas. Arnold asked what it was when the bird started flying over him. Hiiro told him to be quiet. Teeny said it was a magic brush that animated the drawings. It had a power, and he was going to use it to transport the boys. Hiiro asked if it would work. Teeny said it would. Arnold asked why the guy was doing this for them. Teeny said that it was okay to help others when they needed help. Hiiro remained silent. He asked Teeny to explain how he would carry them. The quarrel at the border continued. The guards said that they would use their powers and seize them if the hunters tried to pass through the wall. The man said that a regular soldier wouldn't catch him, and they should try. Suddenly, he saw something. He started laughing, which scared the guards. With shining eyes, he said that he had finally found the red cloak. Hiiro was standing behind the guard. He began to gather magic, saying that he would beat Hiiro. He launched a crimson spear at the boy. Hiiro dodged and smirked. After that, he ran to the side. The man ordered him to stop. They ran after Hiiro, after which he got into a dead end. The man said that now the red cloak will not escape. He removed the bandages from his face and showed Hiiro the burn that was his shame. He declared that he would not heal it until he killed Hiiro in agony. He said he would deal with the guy and the others had to stop him. He said he would kill the guy. He used the flaming fog. The others braced themselves for the blow. He unclenched his fist and commanded Hiiro to burn. After that, there was a loud explosion. He laughed, wanting to show Hiiro his place. But suddenly, he was very surprised. At the sight of the explosion, he saw many small creatures. The others were surprised because they had never seen such creatures before. The little monsters began to run around the area, killing the soldiers of the beastman's cage. They didn't understand anything. The man said he would destroy them with one blow. He was about to use the spell again, but something stopped him. He saw a huge monster. He noticed that Hiiro was on it and asked if it was because of him. Hiiro smiled and said that the man was more troublesome than the boy expected. He even scared him a little. The man was confused and asked who was standing in front of him. Hiiro said that if he allowed it, he would leave. The man tried to stop Hiiro, but he quickly ran away on the monster. The amazed man looked after Hiiro and wondered if he couldn't fly. After some time, Hiiro stopped in the forest and climbed down from the monster. The next moment, the monster began to melt, and Hiiro melted along with it. Teeny was there, but without the beastman ears. In their place were elven ears. He thought it was safe to assume that they had crossed the border successfully. He regretted that he couldn't watch them any longer, but he had more important things to take care of. He put on his bag and a headband and hid his ears and said that it was quite unpleasant to deceive them like that, but he hoped that they would meet again. At this time, the boys successfully crossed the border. They walked across the bridge together. Arnold said he was wondering how Teeny was doing. Hiiro said he was probably okay, since Teeny had said he could take care of himself. Arnold came close to Hiiro and said that he remembered what Teeny said, but he was still worried. He asked if it was really that hard to understand. Mir said she was worried too, even though they had no other choice. They let Teeny become bait. Hiiro noticed that they were very attached to him and decided that this was one of the traits of the beastmen. Suddenly, a Teeny bird appeared in front of them. She sat down on the floor in front of them and then blushed. The boys were surprised, but it turned out to be a message. Arnold read aloud as Teeny wrote that they seemed to have crossed the border. He said that they were fine and he hoped they would meet again. Muir and Vi happily held hands, saying that Teeny was fine. Hiiro was becoming increasingly suspicious of the boy because of his unusual powers. He thought that Tenny's brush was definitely not in keeping with the norms of this world, but he didn't understand if it was all done by the power of the brush. Hiro decided that the next time they met, he would check on Tenny's status. One of the soldiers was hit on the head. He fell to the ground. The man exclaimed that they couldn't waste so much time on them and that they needed to get back to the border. Suddenly, lightning struck. The man turned around, not knowing what it was. Suddenly, someone appeared in front of him. The strangers told the Beast Caves that they knew everything. They were heroes. The boys shouted to Akari and Shinobu to immobilize the monsters. After that, the girls quickly did what they were told. The guy told Chika that now they can kill the monsters. With quick and agile attacks, they destroyed the monsters, which were already immobilized. The joyful heroes looked at the rising dust and said that they were able to defeat them. The guards who were watching this said it was amazing. The guards said they were really real heroes. Suddenly, the man said that they were heroes who were summoned from a parallel world. The guy who had been giving commands earlier also realized that the commander of the Beast Cage was standing in front of them. He exclaimed that they knew what the Beast Cage had done at the border. The boy exclaimed that they had caused quite a stir. They had tried to escape without dealing with those cruel monsters. The man asked what the boy was talking about. He said that they had received a magical signal from the kingdom with information about them when they were heading to this place. They were tasked with stopping the Beast Cage's activities if they caused problems at the border. The boy said that the king was unhappy with the recent actions of the Beast Cage. They should not have increased their punishment, but simply returned with them. The man exclaimed that this was nonsense. He stated that they are doing this for humanity. He asked if they should be punished for this. The only ones who deserve punishment are the beastmen and those who help them. Suddenly, someone exclaimed to the man, Fours, that this was only his personal opinion. He turned very pale and turned around, asking what this man was doing here. A large carriage with a black horse drove up to them, after which her doors opened. With slow, leisurely movements, the unknown man stepped onto the ground. It was a tall man whose face was completely covered by an iron mask. The heroes looked at what was happening in bewilderment. The commander of the Beast Cage immediately fell to his knees before him. The man asked what force was doing in this place. The man was shaking as he said he was sure he had given a detailed report. It was true, but the man had received a report that said Force had lost to an unknown guy and a beastman. He had not received a report stating that Force was heading to the border. The man knelt and begged for an opportunity to explain. After some time spent explaining, silence hung in the air. The man noted that Force had led his troop to the border to take revenge. He asked if this was true. Force confirmed it with fear. Then the man grabbed him by the head and lifted him into the air. He said that the main purpose of the Beast Cage was to drive out the beastmen, not to protect the pride of Force. The commander tried to say that he was very sorry. The man said that Force was relieved of his duties as commander, and from now on, he would be in charge of his unit. He told the man to take a break and cool down. Force agreed with this command. After that, the man turned to the heroes. He told them that they should not be so tense. He stated that they would be held accountable for their actions. He told the heroes to calmly take Force back to the kingdom so that he could be punished accordingly. The hero who was giving the commands asked the man, confused, who he was. The man said that he was one of those who had received the kingdom's order to stop these guys. He turned to Force again and declared that he would not have another chance. The man quickly agreed to this. At this time, the heroes looked at each other in amazement. Suddenly, the amazed hero asked if the red cloak was really there. The guards confirmed it and said that it appeared out of nowhere, just when the situation between them and the Beast Cage was getting tense. They said that the red cloak had distracted all these people. The guy had helped them a lot, although the guard thought it was just a lucky coincidence. Chika said she knew he saved the villagers and the beastmen, but then he destroyed the labs and caused trouble at the kingdom's border. She said the guy was attracting an awful lot of attention. Another girl said that if he came here, he might have crossed the border. She didn't think that he hadn't returned after the animal cage left. She didn't even know why he showed up there. Chika said that if he was coming back, it was possible that he had simply run away. The boy said that he wanted to see the man because he was wondering if it was really Hiro or not. Chika exclaimed that it couldn't be him. She thought he locked himself in a room because that was the best thing for a loner like him. The guy laughed because Chika said that. Akari turned to Taishi and Chika and told them not to be so rude. The other girl told them all that it was time for them to return now, because they had to report to the king. After some time, the joyful Princess Lilith met the heroes in the kingdom. She listened to interesting news. At this time, the guards were walking through the dungeon. They said that they had heard nothing more about the guy. The second guard asked if his comrade was talking about the red cloak. They assumed he was dead. It could be, considering what happened at the border. Suddenly, the second guard asked if his comrade was a fan of Hiiro. The evil force listened to this conversation and thought that he would come for Hiiro and take revenge on him. Arnold exclaimed in shock. Hiiro asked if the old man had finally realized how bad of a person he was. Arnold shouted that Hiiro and V shouldn't look like that. They were in the lands of the beastmen, but they had no ears or tail. They looked exactly like humans. Hiiro said that he understood, considering the current tense situation, he could be attacked if he appeared in the beastmen's territory in human form. Arnold thought about what they should do. He suggested to Hiiro that they pretend to hide their animal ears under a hat or something. Muir asked why they didn't use her hat. Arnold said it was a great idea. At the time, he thought Hiiro would never wear it. V thanked Muir and put on her hat. She asked if she had succeeded. Arnold smiled. After that, he turned to Hiiro and said that the boy knew that beastmen with black hair did not exist. The boy said that it was quite simple. After that, Hiiro used his magic on himself. At that moment, he had a funny tail and ears that said he was a beastman. Hiiro asked if that would be enough. The boys were shocked. Arnold was surprised that Hiiro could do that. He asked why Hiiro had silver hair, just like Muir. Hiiro scolded the man for what he said. Arnold turned to Muir and asked if she was okay with it. He asked her to say that she wouldn't want to have the same hair color as Hiiro. Muir blushed and said she didn't mind. Arnold was shocked. He fell down in despair. At this time, Vi looked to Hiiro. The guy asked what was wrong. The girl said that she wanted to do the same. Hiiro said that it would certainly be better than disguising himself with a hat. The safer, the better. The next moment, the guy used magic on Vi, after which she also got ears and a tail. V smiled and thanked Hiiro, saying that she was happy. The guy said he did it only because it was a more suitable solution to the problem. Arnold asked if the effect would wear off after a few minutes or something. Hiiro said the effects may never go away. Arnold asked how this was possible. It wasn't the first time, but it was also unfair. Muir asked her friend if she was happy. V spun around and asked if this look suited her. Arnold and Hiiro immediately remembered the girl's transformation in a lab. Hiiro said that the girl looked like herself anyway. Vi was happy with these words. She handed Muir the hat and said that she could have it back. Muir took the hat and then asked the girl if she could touch her tail. Vi agreed. After that, Muir hugged V's tail and said that it was adorable because her tail was very fluffy and soft. The old man shouted at the boy not to continue and then said that they should go straight to the land of the beastmen. As soon as the boys got closer, they saw a beautiful landscape. Arnold said that this was the land of the beastmen. Hiiro took a deep breath and thought that the wind here was completely different from the human lands. Even though it was the same summer, it seemed like it would be easier to bear here. He noted that the surrounding smells there were also pleasant. Arnold led the boys and said that if they went strictly west from here, they would soon reach the Urs settlement, Dogum. He said that the Ursus are very polite, so they might get the impression that they are not bears at all. Together, the boys moved along various slopes and difficult roads. Arnold said that even if Hiiro was revealed to be human, he shouldn't attack everyone indiscriminately, although he didn't have to worry about the guy's perfect disguise. He turned around and said that the Urs honey sweets were simply incredible. Hiiro immediately said that he had to try them. At the same time, Muir was surprised by Arnold's words. Hiiro turned to Muir and asked if she had never been to these places before. The girl hesitated and thought about how to say what she was thinking. Hiiro sighed and said she shouldn't force herself. Muir was surprised. Hiiro said he wasn't particularly interested in her past anyway. He said that if she had even the slightest doubt, she didn't need to tell him about it. The girl lowered her head and said that it was not that. However, she was unable to say anything. Arnold turned to the girl and said that Hiiro himself said so it would probably be better. Muir looked at the man. He said he understood her doubts, but she had to understand that they were talking about Hiiro. He said that even if Muir told him, he would probably just ask what was wrong. He asked if Muir thought the same as he did. The girl sighed and said that her uncle was right. After that, he stroked her head and she smiled. Arnold said that one day she would definitely tell him. Muir agreed with him. Together they ran towards them. Muir shouted for Vi and Hiro to wait for them. Suddenly, flying books appeared right in the boys' path. Hiro tensed up and asked if books were really flying in front of them. They all had weapons in their hands. Arnold realized what it was, so he shouted to the others to be careful. They had different magical attributes, so they shouldn't think that they had the same magic because they were the same. He warned them to be careful. Hiro said that they had already assessed the attack of one. He exclaimed that Arnold should take care of the one in front. The man agreed and declared that Arnold the Great would show them the skill of a true swordsman. Vi also rushed to attack and said that she would take care of the enemy on the left. Hiro said that Arnold's enemy had power with thunder magic. Now he had to find out what kind of power his enemy had. At that very moment, the book began to shine, and something began to rise from the ground, right underneath it. A huge hand emerged from the ground and tried to grab Hiro. The guy at this time noted that his opponent possessed earth magic. Since this was the case, he decided to use his word spell. He waved his hand and used the symbol of beginning on his araga. At that moment, the hand fell apart into small pieces of earth. Because of the heavy dust that was raised, Hiro had no trouble getting behind the book. In an attempt to protect itself, the book raised a huge boulder in front of Hiro. The boy exclaimed that his enemy should not even think that he could block his blade in this way. Immediately after that, he pierced the book with his weapon, along with the cobblestone. After that, the stone broke into small pieces. Hiro put away the blade and said that now there was one less enemy. At this time, Arnold deftly dodged every attack from the enemy who used lightning. As soon as the old man got close to the book, he quickly cut it with his sword with a loud cry. After that, he laughed and asked Hiro if he saw it, and then stated that this was his true power. The boy thought that the man was too simple, because he showed so much emotion because of killing one small monster. Hiro looked at Vi and realized that she had finished as well. There were no signs of magic being used around, and it seemed like she had figured it out right away. He thought that the monsters had chosen the wrong victims. Arnold said that it would take them some time to get to Doggam, so they should rest there. Hiro said that if monsters appeared, he would count on Arnold. After that, he sat down. When the man turned around, he saw that Hiro was already asleep. He said that this guy was incredible. Muir laughed and said that Hiro seemed tired. He fought monsters a lot and used a lot of magic. Arnold said he did all that too. Still, Arnold thought about this guy. He asked what kind of incredible power he had at his age. He was also very arrogant, having unique magic. Besides, it was stupid to come to the Beastman's territory as a tourist at a time like this. Muir agreed. Arnold said that it was the first time he had met such a person. Even when he found out that they were Beastmen, he didn't pay attention to it. He waved it off and said that he wasn't interested, as if it was stupid. At the same time, other people despised them. Muir agreed. He asked if the girl was afraid of people now. Muir confirmed it. She said that Hiro didn't scare him. Arnold could see that. No matter how you looked at it, Hiro was unusual. They said he might not even be human. They wondered if it mattered. Arnold grimaced and said that Hiro was probably an evil deity or a reincarnated demon, and a bad one at that. Muir laughed loudly. Arnold smiled when he saw this. He said that she made him happy when she smiled like that. He said that the girl was entrusted to him, and he would protect her even at the cost of his life. Muir said that she must be strong, because that is what she wants to become. Hiro listened to their conversation in silence, pretending to be asleep. The next day, they finally reached the Earth settlement. Muir admired the beauty of the place. Arnold said that this was Dogum's flower garden. Hiro said that it was beautiful there. But first of all, they needed to get to the settlement, because it would soon get dark. He added that he wanted to try the Ursa's honey sweets, so they should hurry. Arnold remained silent. He asked angrily if they weren't waiting for Hiro. The story continues in a Bjorn village called Doggam. A man named Max called Susu and asked her if she could get ready faster. The girls are so unpretentious, so they have a lot to do. Suddenly, someone hits the man on the back and says hello to him. The man turns around and sees Arnold, whom they haven't seen for a long time. The man replies that Max is still as plump as ever. The man then asks Arnold about his ears. The man says that they will leave that question for later because now he wants to introduce him to everyone. Arnold says that this man's name is Max, and this Bjorn was his drinking buddy a long time ago. Max is very pleased to meet you. Arnold says that this little girl with an angelic smile is his flower named Murkastra, and next to her stands a mysterious child who also has great power. Her name is Vinkadizio. The girls say that they are very pleased to meet you. Then Arnold says that the guy next to him is named Hikro. Max said that he welcomes all guests. Then a girl runs up to him and apologizes to Max for making him wait. Then she sees new people and asks her dad who they are. Arnold was very surprised and asked if Max really had a daughter. The man replied that of course he did, because when they last saw each other, his wife had not yet given birth. He told Suze that these people were Dad's friends. The girl replied that her name was Susu and she was 7 years old. She thanked Arnold for looking after her father. Arnold said that they would be under her supervision now. The man said that his name was Arnold Ocean. The girl replied that she was glad to meet them. Then, while Susu was getting to know the girls, Max told Arnold that they were already expecting their third child. The baby was due soon and they were running out of honey. Arnold asks if this means he was getting ready to go for honey. Max agrees and says that he and the boys are going to collect a lot of honey. Susu says that she will go too. There is nothing better than honey to strengthen your health, so she will get as much of it as possible for her mother. Arnold burst into tears and said that Max has a simply wonderful daughter. The man says that she takes after her mother. Max says that he is still very sorry to leave them, especially after all the mess they have made. He asks if they are going to go further. Arnold says that they will wait, since honey was one of their goals. Max said that he understood everything, then they should wait for them and they would return tomorrow. Arnold wished them to take care of themselves. After some time, the heroes came to Max's wife's house. Arnold said that he still did not understand how Max managed to marry such a beauty. The girl said that everything was not quite so, and if Arnold praised her, then she might succumb to temptation. Then Muir asked the girl if she could touch her tummy. Vi wanted to too. The woman allowed them to do so. Arnold watched all this and said that mothers are just amazing. Hiro watched all this and said that he would go get some fresh air. Arnold agreed. Hiro goes outside and sees children running around. Suddenly, one of the children fell down and started crying because he had a cut on his knee. Then his mother ran to him and said that everything was fine and she was already here. The girl took her baby in her arms and began to calm him down. Hiro thought about his mother and remembered the moment when they were driving in the car, and if at that time he had the magic that he has now, then the terrible tragedy from his past would not have happened. He continued to sit on the tree stump and think about his past. Deep night came and Hiro came to his senses and tried to understand what he was thinking about, because so much time had already passed. After some time, he turned to Max's wife and asked if he could read their books. The girl asked again, and then agreed and allowed the hero to look at them. Hiro went to the shelves with books. The woman said that they had some rare books. A long time ago, a fortune teller left books in their village. They were lying on the bookshelf. Hiro said that he found one of them. He took a book called The Adventures of Tinkle Wyclef. The young man went out of the house and took a chair with him. He read that the book was written by the Marquis of Bluenoit. It was one of the so-called heroic stories. He sat down on a chair and decided to look through this book carefully. The plot in it was simply banal. When the world was full of wars, sorrow, and suffering, one young man and his like-minded friends entered the battle. Winning one battle after another, he became known as a hero. But with fame came envy. The king of his own kingdom falsely accused the hero of attempting to murder the princess and executed him. With the hero gone, the world once again plunged into conflict and war. Becoming a disembodied spirit, the hero sought a way to resurrect himself to fulfill his duty and make this world safe again. When the hero was looking for a way to resurrect, he came across some magic. This magic could change the world as he pleased. However, after losing his physical body, he could not use it. The hero decided to wait until someone came along who could revive him. When that day came, he would use his newly acquired magic to bring peace to the world again. First, he will destroy all the existing countries mired in sins. After that, he will go to travel in the new world. His name is Teen Vilki. Hiro said that who would want to become a hero? He would most likely refuse. Suddenly, Mir ran to the young man and started calling him. Hiro called the girl Shorty and asked what happened, because he was busy now. The girl shouted that a big trouble had happened, and he needed to go after her quickly. Max and those who had left with him did not return. Only Susu returned to the village. After some time, Hiro and Muir come to the others. People gathered in a small group and discussed something. Arnold called Hiro, and the young man asked if old Bjorn and his comrades had really been attacked by monsters. Arnold confirmed this and said that the one that appeared was apparently not a simple one. Hiro asked if Arnold was talking about a monster now. Susu said that according to Dad, it was definitely a unique monster. Hiro thought that he remembered that artist talking about something similar. He understood the gist of it. Asks him what kind of unique monster this is. Arnold tells the boy that he can consider them monsters more dangerous than S rank. Hiro thinks that S rank was the same as that antenna girl. Arnold continued and added that in addition, unique monsters may have specific abilities or problematic characteristics. Usually, their destruction is carried out by groups of adventurers of rank or higher. The old man then turns to Susu and asks the girl if the monster had the appearance of a spider and if its body was by any chance red. The girl awkwardly agrees. The man becomes serious and says that he understands everything and is now completely sure that this monster was a red spider. Everyone became very tense. The man continued and said that the unique monster could appear anywhere, but for it to appear in the honey gorge, and especially next to the beehive, was very strange. Hiro asked if they really just needed to save them. There was an awkward pause. Arnold said that the boy doesn't understand because he has never fought a unique monster. They are very dangerous. He has already said, but he will repeat it again, that only a group of adventurers of SH rank and above will be able to fight him. Besides, if the young man looks around, he will see only weak Bjorns. They are all D rank at best. The strongest ones have gone for the honey, and only old people, women, and children remain in the village. And Arnold's rank is only C, and his level is 37. There is no way to defeat this monster. Hiro replies that this does not look like a man. Arnold asks what the boy means. Hiro replies that he would usually be the first to jump up and run to save them. The man clenched his fist as Hiro asked what was wrong now. Suddenly, Arnold shouted and said that even if he wanted to save them, but unique monsters are a different matter. Even if he goes there, nothing will change in the end, because he can't die now. At that moment, Muir called her uncle. Then Max's pregnant wife came out of the house. The woman asked what had happened to everyone. Susu saw her mother and called her. The woman was surprised that Susu had returned. The girl rushed to her mother, but the woman did not understand what had happened to her. Susu began to cry and try to say something about her father. The woman approached Arnold and asked if something could have happened to her husband. The man replied that a red spider had appeared. They fell into the clutches of a spider, and it seems that Max covered Susu so that she could escape. The woman was very scared and said that this simply could not happen. The girl's legs suddenly gave way, and she began to fall. Arnold quickly ran up and grabbed her, shouting that she should be careful. Susu was frightened by her mother's unexpected behavior. The girl replied that she was fine and had simply lost her balance. The girl apologized to Arnold and then said that this meant that her husband would not return. Arnold replied that they didn't know for sure. Suddenly, Vi came up to them and said that red spiders eat slowly, so they might make it in time. Hiro watched everything silently, and Vi continued and said that it means that they only have to defeat him. If they don't go, then Max and his friends will die. She asks if Arnold agrees with this. The man gritted his teeth and said that, of course he agreed, but he saw no way to win. He had already fought a unique monster once. That time he had been lucky and had somehow managed to escape. Most of the guys who were with him died. That's why he can't make up his mind. Although he has become stronger since then, but he still can't die yet. Muir looked down sadly. She squeezed her skirt and asked her uncle for forgiveness because it was her fault. The man knelt down and said that it was not so. It was all his stubbornness that was to blame. Raising her to be a beautiful girl was the man's goal, and he also had to fulfill the promise he had made to the girl's father. Muir burst into tears at her uncle's words. Vi came up to them and told Arnold to take care of his friends and not let them die. If a friend is sad, then it starts to hurt deep inside. That's why Vi wants to do everything she can. Vi also wants to pay back the debt for what happened earlier. V has a good idea of the unique monster's strength, so the man can't handle it alone. But now he has V and Hiro. The man looked at Hiro, then closed his eyes and said that this would not do. Hiro had nothing to do with this. Even if it did, he did not want the boy to help. Hiro replies that he is of course involved with it. The man asks what the boy means. Hiro replies that he came so far to taste the honey sweets. He can't leave without trying them. If old Bjorn can't come back, they won't be able to make the sweets. Arnold is surprised and says that's true. But then Hiro will be in danger. The young man adjusts his glasses and says that if the unique monster deprives him of honey sweets, then he will certainly destroy him. After some time, the preparations were completed. Max's wife asked Arnold, Vi, and Hiro if everything would be okay with them. Arnold smiled and agreed, saying that now they would definitely save Max and the others. The girls shouldn't worry, because he wouldn't let this child grow up without a father. Max's wife burst into tears. The women bowed, and Max's wife thanked Arnold's group and asked them to save her husband and everyone else. Then the girl turned to Susu and told the girl that she was just showing them the way, so she should be careful. The girl replied that she understood. Arnold turned to Mira and said that he was leaving this place to the girl. She agreed, and asked in her thoughts that they all return safely. After some time, the group comes to the honey gorge. Arnold says that right in front of them, around the bend, there will probably be a monster. Vi agreed and said that he is here and she feels it. Hiro says that he will go and check and everyone else should stay here. V asks if the boy is sure about this. He agrees and uses the concealment skill, which causes the symbol on his hand to light up. He comes around the bend and sees a huge spider web, as well as the old bear Max, who was unconscious and wrapped in a cocoon. Then, looking at the full picture, Hiro saw a huge web on which all the other villagers were hanging. Hiro realized that they were still alive. But what should he do now? He thinks that maybe he should try to free them all from the web. He reaches for his sword, but suddenly feels something. Behind the young man was a huge red spider. He hid behind a rock and thought that this spider had a strong bloodthirstiness. He now understood what a unique monster was. The red spider made a terrible cracking sound. Hiro looked at his symbol on his hand and thought that if he had not used the word hide, he would already be dead. Suddenly, the monster struck next to the young man. Hiro was very surprised and thought that it could be that this monster knew that he was here. At that moment, the monster made some kind of growl. Hiro decided to run, but the red spider suddenly released its web. Hiro was scared, but in front of him appeared the ability of the initial stage, Squall, which is expressed in a sharp increase in wind for a short time. Vi and Arnold appeared. The girl asked if Hiro was okay. She felt a huge killing intent. Arnold said that Susu and Winged were hiding in a safe place. V said that she would distract the red spider while Arnold freed Max and the others. Arnold shouted that even if it was V, it was dangerous to do it alone. She agreed and said that therefore Arnold should hurry. The man ran up to Hiro and asked if he could fight. The young man said that it was as Arnold had said, but the man did not understand what Hiro was talking about. The young man was shaking all over and said that this creature was dangerous and that he was seeing such a monster for the first time. Arnold said that Hiro was not like himself and what had happened to him. Suddenly, they heard a loud noise. It was V who pushed the huge spider straight into the wall. He used his web to hold her chains, but the girl took advantage of this to throw him into the wall. Then the web evaporated from the chain. It transformed into a spear, and Vi said that her spear was the strongest. Arnold said that as he thought, Vi is very strong. He is surprised that she can even use this spear. Hiro mentally called Vi an antenna girl. Arnold added that she felt neither fear nor doubt. Even if these feelings appeared, she would have enough strength to overcome them. He thought about what if he had such strength. Hiro looked at his shaking hand and said that if he were stronger, everything would be different. He remembered one moment when he told Muir that if she was so worried, she should become stronger. The boy clenched his fist and his teeth. Arnold said that he was going to save Max and the others. Hiro apologized to Arnold and said that he would help him. Arnold asked if the young man was okay. He agreed and added that on their journey, they would meet more than one unique monster. And, first of all, he would not calm down until he ate his honey sweets. Arnold smirks and says that now the boy looks like himself. Then they approach the web, and the man says that the threads of the web are hard and thick, so it is easy to climb on them. Arnold climbs up the web and asks Max to sit still. Suddenly, Hiiro notices something and shouts at Arnold to jump off. The man does not understand the boy. Then suddenly, the spider uses its web on Arnold and he gets stuck to the stone wall. The man wanted to free himself with his sword, but he notices something and doesn't understand what is happening to him. He tells Hiro and V to escape. The sword falls from his hands and he then loses consciousness. Hiro screams to wake him up, but Arnold does not come to. Hiro thought that this couldn't be happening. He remembered Arnold's words about unique monsters having specific abilities or problematic characteristics. Then he realized that the spider's web could put someone to sleep. Hiro hides behind a rock and tells the antenna girl to come to him. V runs up and asks him what happened. Hiro explains that they can only save the Bjorns after they kill the spider. He asks if Vi has any special moves she can use. Vi opens the spear and takes out a chain. She says that her Fire Myriad skill will be able to work at full capacity. Hiro realizes that if the Fire Myriad works, it means the spider is vulnerable to fire. V adds that it will require a lot of energy, so time is needed to prepare. Hiro says that in this case he will be the bait, and the girl will begin preparing her reception. She agrees and asks the young man to be careful. And Izama jumps out of the hole, the lair of the red spider. Hiro comes out of the stone and shouts to the red spider to come to him, because now they will deal with him. At this moment, a cup of tea fell and broke. It was dropped by Max's wife, whose name was Russo. Mir asked what was wrong with the girl. She replied that she was fine, but she just needed to lie down right now. The baby who was sitting next to her started to cry. Mir asked Belle not to cry. She started rocking her and said that she wouldn't stop crying. It seemed that Russo was in pain, and she relied on her uncle always, and in everything. But what should she do to help the others? She closed her eyes and tried to understand what she could do now. Suddenly, a glow appeared above the girl's head. Russo turned to Mir and asked what it was. Mir realized that Belle had stopped crying. She said that she didn't quite understand what had happened, but that she would get someone to help her. The girl came to the other villagers and told them everything. They assumed that the baby would be born soon. Mir asked what they should do now. The villagers said that they would take care of Russo, so Mir should not worry. Mir thought about what she should do, and then said that she would go to Honey Gulch and tell the others about it. She would bring Max and Susu back. It was the only thing she could do now. At this time, Hiro was fighting the spider. He used the explosion symbol to damage the monster. However, the monster approaches the boy too quickly. He hits the protagonist right in the body with his head. Hiro is pushed right into a stone wall. He lies in the stones all wounded. He looked up at the sky, where Vi had already prepared her magic. Hiro ordered the antenna girl to act. V shouted the name of the skill. The 5th stage. Fire Myriads. A huge fireball straight at the monster. The red spider wanted to move, but all its paws were glued with something. Hiro used the glue symbol. He smirked and told him to stand still for just 1 second. At that moment, a huge fireball crashed into the red spider and exploded. Everything around was enveloped in scarlet flames. Hiro smirked and asked the spider how he liked that. At that moment, he saw that Vi had missed and had hit the red spider. Hiro realized that at that moment he had covered himself with Arnold. The spider turned out to be very intelligent. Then the protagonist saw how Vi fell. Hiro shouted her name. Vi was lying on the ground in a spider's web and said that the spider caught Vi when she couldn't defend herself. Vi's fire. Myriads missed the monster. Hiro asked the girl to hold on, but she closed her eyes and fell asleep. The last thing she did was apologize to the young man. Vi's words of forgiveness were sharply cut into Hiro's mind. He drew a sword and rushed straight towards the spider, screaming. At that moment, Susu was sitting with the puppy among the stones. She said that it had become very quiet, and maybe everything was over. Suddenly, Muir appeared in front of her and called Susu. The girl was very frightened by the unexpected appearance. Susu asked Mir not to scare her, and Mir apologized to her. Susu asked what she was doing there, to which Mir replied that her mother's baby was about to be born. Susu was very surprised. Mir came here to tell them about it, but she doesn't understand where the others are. Susu said that it was very noisy there recently, but now everything is quiet. Miura replied that she would see what was going on there, and Susu took her hand and said that she would also go with her. The girl looked out from behind a corner and saw a huge spider as well as all the others hanging on the web. At that moment, Hiro was wondering where he was. He fought with the red spider and lost. The young man tries to understand whether he died or was simply put to sleep by his web. Although it does not matter to him, because for him, this is the end. He knows that there is nothing to regret. Then he thought about someone calling him. He understood what was wrong with him, because he remembered that voice, and he also remembered that she told him to live his life with dignity. It was his mother. The boy suddenly opens his eyes, and then something happens, and he is freed from the web. Some strange golden light surrounded Hiro's body. He was very serious as he looked at his enemy. Miura and Susu looked at what was happening. Susu asked if it was really Hiro. Miura answered in the affirmative, and said that it was the first time she saw Hiro like this. There is something about its appearance that allows one to feel warmth and a sense of security. The spider rushed at the young man, but he used fire magic and melted the monster's web. The spider then suddenly used its fast speed and appeared right behind Hiro, but the youth used his skill and threw the monster straight into the wall. Miura and Susu were surprised and shouted that it was very cool. The spider let out a shrill scream and Hiro's gaze returned to normal. He grabbed his head and did not understand what had just happened and how he had even freed himself from this web, and who had done this to the red spider. He doesn't understand what happened here, but there is some strange feeling in him, as if he is simply overwhelmed with power. At that moment, the spider turned over. The young man realized that he could do it and could defeat the monster. He uses magic missiles and launches them straight at the spider. The young man then made a dash and said that the spider was certainly an excellent opponent for him. A low-level adventurer would not be able to withstand an S-rank monster. Of course, this was not without common sense. However, right now he will break the boundaries of this common sense. The young man uses word magic and applies the skill of burning and explosion. A huge explosion was heard throughout the mountain. Hiro was thrown to the side by the shockwave. He looked at the place where the red spider should have been, but there was only a huge hole. Hiro laughed and shouted that they had defeated the monster. After some time, Arnold congratulated Max and Russo. Max was very surprised and was shaking all over. Susu told Dad that Mom and Dad were having a baby boy. Max asked his wife if he could hold the baby. Arnold smiled and said that he wouldn't mind having a child one day. Hiro said that it sounded rude coming from him, so he asked him not to continue, as it was disgusting. Arnold screamed and asked why. Miura asked them to be quiet. At that moment, Russo and Max thanked them for everything. Max didn't even know how to thank them. Arnold asked him not to worry, because in fact, he hadn't done anything. Hiro at that moment said that he absolutely had, because Arnold had been caught very quickly, and he could have supported him at least a little. Arnold said that everything was fine, and then he thanked Vi. She and Hiro defeated that monster. The man asks if he really thinks so. Vi said that she lost and Hiro defeated him alone. Arnold asked if Vi was serious since his rank was lower than his own, and he managed without Vi. Miura told her uncle that this was indeed the case. She and Susu saw Hiro fight this monster. Susu added that it was very cool. Max was surprised and asked if Hiro really killed the unique monster on his own. He asked what kind of creature this guy was. Hiro replied that he didn't have to explain it to him. Arnold asked Max not to pay attention to this guy, because he was like that with everyone. Max said that he was very grateful to Hiro. The young man adjusted his glasses and said that it was nothing. He did it only to eat honey sweets. Max was surprised that the young man would risk his life for something like that. He called the young man very strange. Hiro answered whether Max really thought so. He thought it was a very worthy cause. Max says that in that case, he should get ready. The villagers are going to have a party in honor of the new baby. They will put out the best honey delicacies they have. Miura looked at the baby and said that he was very cute. Russo thanked the girl and said that, thanks to her, her child was born without complications. Miura smiled and said hello to the baby. The next night, the celebration began. The girls performed beautiful dances and the guests of honor sat at their rich table. Max told Hiro that to his right, they had honey cookies, honey stew, triple honey cake, and cooking syrup. They used the honey they had collected. Hiiro tried the spoon and sank into the bliss of the fact that it was worth risking his life for. At that moment, he felt very good. Max laughed and said that it was very cool. Hiiro at that moment said that he was also interested in something. Black, red, and white honey. He asked if it was some special kind of honey. They had a very familiar smell. Max replied that these types of honey are created using flowers growing in Dogam's garden, and they have different smells and tastes. The familiar smell, he tells the boy, most likely comes from white honey. He asks the young man if he knows what honey candies are. They are made from white honey. The young man asks if the man is talking about the candies that restore mana. Then Miura interrupts him and asks him to look in that direction. Susu was dancing there in the leading role. The girl was very beautifully dressed. Max looked at his daughter and said that she had inherited her mother's talent. Russo was the best dancer in the entire village. Arnold said she was beautiful, and there were a lot of beautiful ladies there too. It was a real treat for the eyes. Mir narrowed her eyes and looked at her uncle. Then the girl turned to Hiiro and said that she wanted to know something from him. The young man asked what exactly the girl wanted to find out from him. She asked if the young man could now create golden fire. He asked what she was talking about. The girl agreed and said that perhaps she had not seen it then. Its flame was not blue as before, but golden. The young man continued to remain silent and look at the girl. They were interrupted by Susu, who asked Hiiro what he would say about her dance. The young man at first did not understand what exactly the girl wanted from him. She said that she meant her dance, and then asked if it was good. The young man realized that the girl was talking about her dance, that for her age he thought she had done very well. Susu was pleased with the young man's praise. She shouted to her dad that Hiiro had praised her. The young man continued to eat the honey sweets, and then noticed that Miura was looking at him, and asked what was wrong. The girl pouted, turned away, and said that it was nothing. Hiiro was silent, and did not understand what he had said wrong. In the morning, when Hiiro's group's equipment was fully prepared, they set off on their further journey. Arnold thanked Max for giving them his Wind Riders. The man said it was the least he could do for them. He smiled and told them to stop by sometimes. Miura then asked his uncle if he was ready for the trip. The man agreed and then took honey out of his bag and said that he had brought this jar. Then Susu called Hiiro and asked him to put his ear to her. The young man bent down and the girl kissed him on the cheek. Everyone was very surprised, and Arnold and Max even more so. The boy pulled away and then asked what that was all about. Susu turned around and said that it was a reward for the boy. She said goodbye to Hiiro, who was glowing with a golden light. The young man did not understand what Susu meant when she spoke of a golden shower. After some time, they set off on their journey. Max was indignant and told Hiiro that he would not receive his daughter. During the journey, Arnold shouted at Hiiro about why he always got the best. The young man was surprised and asked if the man was really saying that he would like to receive something like that from a little girl. He said that it was too much. Arnold screamed that he didn't want it at all. V was watching them. Hiiro noticed her attentive gaze and asked if the antenna girl wanted to say something. She asked if Vi could do the same thing that Susu did. Miura and Arnold screamed that it was very impudent. Hiiro said that she could kiss Arnold if she wanted. He was sure that he would cry with happiness. Arnold was outraged. Arnold shouted that he repeats as many times as necessary and says that he is normal. He was very impressed by the dancers last night because they are very attractive. However, Hiiro ignored him. Mir called her uncle again, and he realized that he had misspoke. The man began to tell Mir that she had misunderstood. Hiiro at that moment thought that he did not remember anything of what happened, but he felt that he was enveloped in something very warm. He also used 2 symbols for one spell. How could he use 2 symbols if he had never done it before? Of course, he raised his level significantly after defeating that monster, but he did not receive new magical abilities. He tried to write 2 symbols like then, but he could not. It turns out that what happened then was just an accident. When he lost consciousness, the only ones who could see anything were those 2. He remembers Mir and Susu's words about calling Hiiro golden fire and light. He thinks about the golden light and what they saw. He turns to Mir, calling her Shorty, and tells her to sit behind him. Mir asks why he is being gentle. The boy replies that he just needs to talk to her about something. He again calls the girl Shorty and asks about what the girl said about him creating golden fire. The girl agrees. He asks if the girl saw him being cornered by that unique monster. He wants the girl to tell him what she saw. Miura tells the boy everything. Hiiro says that means he was engulfed in golden flames. Miura asks if the boy really doesn't remember. He thanks her for telling him. Miura is embarrassed and then shouts that she thought the boy was really cool that time. Hiiro flicks the girl on the forehead and says that she talks too much. V looks at them and thinks that he also wants Hiiro to flick her on the forehead. Hiiro was thinking about the golden flames at that moment. It probably had nothing to do with fire. But it was also different from his usual magic, where the spell symbols glowed blue. Besides, there's a lot he doesn't know about his word magic. He looks at the status window where he saw the broken description text. This magic might be more mysterious than he thought. Perhaps one day, when he unravels all the secrets of his magic, he will be able to understand what Mir saw that day. This world is huge. It is endowed with many people and filled with many secrets. He will make every effort to survive in this world. He refuses to die regretting anything, and one day he will unravel all these secrets. Arnold runs up to them and says that if Hiiro is done talking to Muir, he should bring her back. Hiiro agrees and tells the man not to get so close to him. Mir moved to Arnold and thought that one day she wanted to scream like Hiiro did when he defeated the Red Spider. He fought desperately despite his fear, pain, grief, and sadness. That's why he screamed like that back then. The girl admits that she is weak, so now she can't scream like Hiiro did. She wants to fight together with Hiiro and her uncle. If she can fight and rejoice in victories together with them, then she will do something very important. The girl thought about it and grabbed Arnold by his clothes. The man noticed this and was very happy. Muir thought that Susu had strong self-control. She must become stronger in both body and spirit. By becoming stronger in spirit, she thinks that she will be able to get closer to Hiiro. Muir asked her uncle where they were going. Arnold asked that he hadn't told the girl that they were going to Patient, the kingdom of the Beastmen. Hiiro asked if it was really a great kingdom in the Beastmen's territory. He had wanted to go there for a long time. Arnold then asked Bai if she wanted to go there. The girl agreed. Arnold says that they will then boldly head to Passion. He asks the Wind Rider to increase speed. Overcome by their own worries, they head to the kingdom of the Beastmen. The action moves to the demonic country of Exios, to the castle of the Demon Lord, to his personal chambers. The Demon Queen thought that the human kingdom had ignored her message. The Beast Kingdom have refused immediately. She didn't understand why no one understood what she wanted to say. Then there was a knock on the door. The girl asked Kyria, who had entered, if something had happened. The girl gave a negative answer. She said that Her Majesty had been experiencing great anxiety lately, so she had prepared herbal tea. The queen thanked Kyria. She then asked if the girl could really understand her so easily. Kyria answered in the affirmative and added that Her Majesty was acting boldly, but the demon she knew was still the same. Suddenly, a chirping sound was heard. The queen asked Kyria to give her the letter that the bird had brought. The girl said that Tequila's magic was as unique as ever. Kyria added that this was indeed the case, but she thought that this was to be expected from the owner of unique magic. The queen laughed and added that it was so like him. Then Kyria asked what the contents of the letter were. The girl replied that Tekiel was telling about his adventures and impressions from encounters with friendly creatures that he had during his travels through various territories. He was quite cheerful. He also wrote about an interesting company he had recently met. Kyria asked what the girl meant by an interesting company. The queen says that Tekiel is talking about a company consisting of a man, 2 beastmen, and a half-breed. If this is true, then it seems very strange. The queen frowned and said that she thought the humans were still as unpredictable as ever. Now Tail has begun gathering data in the beastmen's territory. Kyria said she foresees that he will soon see signs that the beastmen are about to strike. He must complete his task completely to check whether his assumptions are correct. The girl replied that Kyria was right. At this time, there were no human territories in the Storm Spears. The dragon fought with the people and was defeated from many wounds. The boy shouted that they had destroyed the storm dragon. The male knight told the heroes that it was simply magnificent. The girls said that they needed to quickly collect the trophies and return to the deputies, because they were very tired. Another girl said that she was glad that they were taking only part of his scales. It's too big to be transported in one piece. Suddenly, the boy shouted the chica to duck. A man with the wings and head of a bird landed on the dragon. He announced that he was taking this body. The young man shouted to him who he was, because it was they who had defeated this dragon. The man in the form of a bird tore off his scales with one swing and threw them to the people. The male knight stopped the young man named Taishi. At that moment, the man in the form of an eagle grabbed the dragon by the tail. The young man was very surprised that he alone carried away the whole dragon. In the end, the eagle man soared into the sky together with the dragon. Taishi ordered him to stop and had already started to use magic, but he was stopped by a male knight who said that they had gotten what they needed here, so they should leave the stranger. The dark-haired girl was surprised at how the stranger managed to lift a whole dragon. Another girl asked if this birdman was really that dangerous. The other girl replied that besides that the battle would be 5 against 1. The man replied that 5 would not be enough to deal with this birdman. It was Barid. He is one of the 3 warriors who are directly subordinate to the ruler of the Beastman Kingdom Passian. He has an SS rank, which means that they are significantly weaker than him. If they were to start a battle with him, the Beastmen would not ignore it. The boys asked why a high-level warrior like him would appear here and steal this dragon from them. The man replied that they were preparing for a war that would soon begin. The young man asked him to wait and said that if the war had already begun, then he could simply attack them. But why didn't he do it? The girl said that this did not explain why he took the corpse of this monster. The man replied that he ignored them because they were going to fight demons. As for the dragon, they can control dead monsters. The young man made a face and asked if they really turned monsters into zombies. The man said that they did, but for a certain time, and besides, they could only use fresh corpses. The fact that they are gathering monsters means that they are going to fight demons. She asked about the people being observers. He agreed and added that if they were aggressive, they could be attacked by everyone at once. In addition, the hero's abilities are currently only about half developed. They should not interfere with events that will definitely lead to their death. However, they will undoubtedly be able to acquire unimaginable power. From now on, some must devote themselves entirely to improving their abilities. The heroes agree. They head back. The man is the last one to go, thinking that it seems too late to keep the world from falling into the abyss of chaos. The action moves to the kingdom of the Beastmen, Passian, namely to the Tree of the King. The little Beastman ran and called for his father. The man said that the girl should call him father or Lord Father. He turned to Keclair and asked how many times he should repeat this. The man's name was Leovold, and he was the king of the Beastman Kingdom. The girl's name was Keclair, and she was the princess of the Beastman Kingdom. Keclair told her father to forget about it because she wanted him to listen to her. She asks why she can't fight alongside a man. Leovold sighs and says that the girl is too inexperienced and hasn't mastered her own submission technique yet. He said that this war would be very cruel and death would be everywhere. He did not intend to lose, but they had to save a lot of royal blood. The girl said that was why he was only taking her brothers. She can't agree with that. Even if she's gone, there's still Mimir and she's good enough. Leovold asks what Keclair is talking about, since Mimir is still a 9-year-old girl. Yes, Mimir is of royal blood, but she is now trying to solve a difficult problem. Keclair says that it is, but she is terribly clever. She is a more suitable candidate than she. The man says that she will soon be 18, and she worries about the kingdom even more than Leovold himself. He turns around and says that he's not seriously planning on dying. He's going to settle their score and deal with the humans and demons, and then they'll rule the entire territory. Keclair is the daughter of the Beast King. Even though she's inexperienced now, Leovold believes that she will become the strongest beast. That is why, while he is away, the kingdom remains in her care. The girl looked at her father leaving and thought that if only she were stronger. After a while, Leovold opened the doors and told everyone that the time had finally come. They had been patient for too long. The demons were running rampant on their territory without any fear. The humans generally treat them as prisoners. A huge number of their fellows suffer horribly from their actions. However, now they have acquired great strength, domination technique, and their sharp fangs. They will tear to shreds and show that it is the Beastmen who deserves to stand at the top of the world order. Leovold turned to Legolas and asked if he had sent the declaration of war. Legolas was the first prince of the Beastmen's kingdom. He said that he had sent the declaration exactly when the king had ordered it. Another youth said that he would gather his troops and get rid of the demons near the borders. Leovold agreed and told the youth not to take any risky actions. When they receive the message, they will definitely gather their forces at the border to prevent them from passing through. Second Prince Linian said that he knows, but still, he will hunt them. Leovold praised Linian's remarkable fighting spirit. He then told everyone to simply find them and pave the way for the beastmen to win with their corpses. They would show them the full power of the beastmen and put an end to the suffering of their brethren. And now they were about to begin implementing their strategy to crush the demons. At this time, Arnold, Hiiro, Vi, and Muir decided to set up camp in a good place for today. Arnold says they need to stop in Reitenbu before heading to Masian, but they still have a long way to go, so it's worth resting. At that moment, Hiiro closed his eyes and used the symbol of purification. Muir and Vi enjoyed being enveloped by a pleasant feeling, asked tensely what Ishiro had done to Vi and Muir. The young man replied that he had simply purified their bodies with magic, since they were girls to some extent, and had to maintain purity. Muir was confused by the fact that the boy said something about a certain degree. At that moment, Arnold asked why the boy didn't use this magic on him. Hiiro replied that he refused to do so. Arnold screamed and asked why the boy refused. Hiiro replied that it was because his whole being was soaked with dirt. He would say that his strength was insufficient and it was too late. Arnold rushed to the boy and screamed, but Hiiro used the sleep symbol, and the man fell asleep in a very uncomfortable position. Muir was scared, but Hiiro said that he had simply put the man to sleep because he had become too noisy. He also told the girls that they needed to sleep too. They agreed and began to drag Arnold into his sleeping bag. Some time later, late at night, Muir was sleeping with her uncle. Vi was sleeping next to them in the next place. Hiiro sat by the tree and thought that it was time for him to try his word magic again. He wrote the symbol of sleep on the old man, but he barely had time to write the symbol. There must be a special requirement for writing on living creatures, perhaps to compensate for the serious damage it can cause. He thinks that this place might be suitable. Suddenly, he notices some glow on the edge of the hill and thinks that they are too bright to be a bunch of fireflies. Then the young man hides behind a bush and notices small people. He thinks that they are fairies, or maybe spirits. Suddenly, one of the creatures notices him. Hiiro realized that he was noticed. He stands still and the creatures begin to surround him. One of them said that it was a beast man or a man who saw them. Another girl said that their mother told them that people are unable to see. Hiiro asked them how they knew he wasn't a beast man. One girl was surprised that he could talk and could actually see them. The other girl replied that it was obvious, since those things on his head weren't real. Hiiro thought about his animal ears and was surprised that they were able to notice that they were created by magic. The girl says that spirits are an all-seeing race. Hiiro asked again about the all-seeing race and said that he does not understand at all. The spirit girl began to mimic him. Another girl looked at him and said that she was no longer sure whether he was really human. The others also began to look at Hiiro. The girl said that she had met the man before, but he seemed different. Another spirit girl said that maybe their mother knew about it. Hiiro doesn't understand what they are talking about. Spirit girl tells the boy to follow them. She uses magic and creates a portal. Hiiro asks them what it is. The fairy answers that if the boy passes through here, he will meet Mama. Hiiro thinks that the fairies are not afraid of him at all. If he goes with them, he can get some useful information. Then he notices how one of the fairies looks at him and tries to understand what she is looking at. Then he notices a tail behind a tree. Hiiro exhales and tells the shorty to come out. Muir said she was sorry and had no intention of eavesdropping. When she woke up, she noticed that the boy was gone. Hiiro replied that it was okay, but the girl still shouldn't walk through the forest alone in the middle of the night, because she would drive her uncle crazy. One of the fairies said that the girl belonged to an unusual race. Hiiro thought about what she was saying. Another fairy asked Hiiro to take this girl with him. Muir asked where they wanted to take her. Ishrir replied that he had no idea, but he sensed no evil intent in these fairies. It seemed that this portal would take him to their mother. That is why there is no need to wake up the antenna girl and the old man. Muir asks if the young man is sure. They go into the portal, and Hiiro says that if she's nervous she can stay, but he's curious, so he'll go. Muir says she'll go too. They enter the portal and are enveloped in a bright light. They are very impressed by what they see. A huge number of fairies in their settlement. The fairies immediately noticed how Hiiro and Muir came to them. The girl was glad to see a large number of fairies. One of them called Hiiro to go towards the tower. They approached the tower, and a voice was heard welcoming the traveler to the fairy garden. The fairy queen appeared and asked if Hiro was an alien. Muir looked at Hiro and asked again about the alien, but the young man remained silent. Hiro thanked the fairy queen for inviting him here, although he didn't care about their complete lack of caution. The fairy queen said that the fairy Orn had excellent intuition and that she had not invited any villains. The girl laughed. Then the fairy turned to his mother and asked if Hiro was human. The fairy queen replied that he was not human. He was an alien, meaning that the boy belonged to a world different from Idea. The fairies began to circle around the young man and shout that he was an alien, and Orn jumped on his head and began to tug at his hair. The queen told Orn not to forget about respect for their guests. The woman said that she was the leader of the fairies, that is, the queen of the fairies, and her name was Ninyaho. She asked if the young man would be so kind as to tell her his name. Hiro says his name is Arnold Ocean. Mir shuddered. The queen laughed and called the youth a mischievous boy. She warned him that he would not be able to deceive her. Hiro realized that this was definitely an all-seeing race. He then said that his name was Hiro Okamura. Mir shouted that her name was Murcastria. The woman said that she was very pleased to meet them and that it must be fate that they were able to meet like this. She asked them to make themselves at home and follow her. After some time, they came to her castle. The girl said that these dishes are called vania, the food that the fairies created especially, and the drink in their cups is called mernum. She asked them to enjoy the treats. Hiro thought that they might be poisoned, so he decided to use magic under the table. But the girl told the boy not to worry, since there was no poison in their drinks. Hiro replied that they were very far from familiar places, so caution would not hurt. The queen replied that they could be as careful as they wished. She said that the boy could use his word magic if he felt it necessary. Hiro was surprised. The woman replied that she was the leader of an all-seeing race, so she could see everything that her gaze fell on, even statuses that most people were unable to see. Hiro thought that she wouldn't be able to know about his word magic just by intuition, so it must be true that they were an all-seeing race. He thought that spirits had nothing to do with the state of affairs in the world. Even as she knew that he came from another world, it was unlikely that she would gain anything by creating a problem for him. In any case, she got her way. The girl smiled, and Hiro suddenly realized that the peel of the delicacies was sour, like a lemon, but inside it was sweet, like a strawberry. It looked like gum, but after biting into it once, he could no longer stop. Then he looks at Mernum's drink and smells the aroma of peach. He tastes it and thinks it is a fruity flavor that is similar to apple. He says that the food is very good. The girl is happy and says that she must say that people have been behaving inappropriately lately, because they have been using summoning magic. Iroh said that apparently the king sacrificed his own daughters to summon the heroes, so it's just ridiculous. She asked why Hiro refused to join the rest of the aliens. The boy said that it was obvious because he did not want to. First of all, being in the company of people he doesn't even respect wasn't even fun. The girl says that then he should at least respect his current comrades. Hiro paused, then said that he didn't know, and perhaps he just found them useful to himself. The queen noticed how Muir's ears drooped. The girl replied that the new aliens were quite interesting. Then they walked through the fairy garden. The fairy queen addresses Murcastria. She apologizes for frightening the girl. She is now communicating with her through thoughts. She wants the girl to try to talk to her mentally. Muir tenses up and asks if she is doing the right thing. The girl thanks her and says that it is better not to say it out loud. Muir asks what the girl means. She asked if Muir was worried about anything now. The girl couldn't say anything, and the queen asked if it was because of what Hiro said during their conversation. Muir felt uneasy, but the queen said she needn't worry about it, as everything was fine. What he said was not a lie, but it wasn't true either. Muir asked what that could mean. The queen replied that she would not tell her the whole story, as it would hurt the young man's dignity. But she would tell her that all his life he had no one he could call his friend. She noticed that it was very difficult to communicate with him. Muir said that Hiro is a good person, and he saved her and her uncle when they needed his help. And there are also a lot of other people he saved. The girl replied that he knew because she had looked inside his mind. Muir asked what that meant. The queen said that part of his mind had been completely blank, but now it was filled with images of the girl and the rest of his comrades. Muir was delighted. The girl adds that the young man seems to be a person with a rather difficult character. He probably has not yet realized that his attachment to his comrades is steadily growing. Muir is very sweetly surprised and feels something warm inside. The fairy queen says that this is their common secret. The girl agrees. Then the queen asked if there was anything else that bothered the girl. She answered that she was always protected. Uncle, Hiro, and even Vi, who was barely older than her. The only thing she was good at was rooting for them. The girl asked if she really did not realize her true worth. The queen kneeled down and told Muir that it was all right. Deep within her, there was undoubtedly strength. The girl starts crying and says that she is so weak. She tries to become stronger, but in the end, she always gets in everyone's way. The queen says she is not lying, and Muir must believe in herself. No one is strong from the start. She just needs to believe in herself, and that is her first step. Suddenly, Muir feels something warm in her hands. The girl says that she gave her some of her magic. She hopes that this will be a good push for the girl. Right now, she does not need to know what it means. However, the girl must not forget what the queen had told her. Muir clenched her fists and agreed. After some time, Muir and Hiro stood at the portal. The fairy said that they would give the young man a useful thing. The fairy gives the young man a ring. He asks what it is, to which the fairy answers him that it is a fairy ring, which is proof of the fairy's trust. The fairy queen says that Orn must be happy to have met a human for the first time, so she asks the young man to accept him. She herself will give him something else. A shining sphere was hovering on the woman's hand. Suddenly it was absorbed into Hiro's body. The young man became frightened and asked what it was. The girl replied that it was to establish a connection between them. She suggested that they meet again. If they met the King of Spirits, she asked them to convey her best wishes to him. Hiro began to be absorbed into the portal. The young man became frightened and asked them to stop and explain what it all meant. Then they found themselves in their world, where it was already morning. Arnold came up to them and asked Hiro why he looked so strange, and what was that look in his eyes. He also asked why Muir looked so sleepy. The young man asked him to be quiet. Arnold did not understand why the young man was behaving like that, and in general they looked as if they had not slept all night. He asked what they had been doing all night. Hiro ordered him to be quiet again. The town of Reinbu, closest to the kingdom of the beastmen, Pajin. Arnold was surprised that the employee of the establishment said about the war. He asked him if he was really talking about the war. The young man confirmed it and said that a lot of troops should be moving up to the border. Arnold asked if the kingdom really thought it could compete with the demons. The employee said that it was a fact that the kingdom was gathering soldiers at the border. A very large number of volunteers were being sent there. And now, except for praying that they return home safe and sound, they can't think of anything. Hiro asks Arnold what their plan is. Arnold says that war or not, they still need to get to Pajin, as that is his destination. Hiro agrees and suggests that they find an inn, as he is very hungry. Arnold exhaled and said that he really envied the boy's insensitivity. Hiro says that he knows that the man has business in Pasien. But what does that have to do with the honey he got in Dogam, since that is exactly what he got the honey for? Arnold says that he really didn't tell Hiro. In Pasien, he's supposed to meet two people, but one of them, he thinks, desperately wants honey. Muir says that she would like to meet the person that Arnold wants to see so much. The man says he's glad to hear that, but he is actually dating her for Muir. The girl asks what the man means. He winks at her and tells her to figure it out for herself. Then he says something he completely forgot. He asks if they can go to the guild before going to the inn. He wants to register them as a team. If they registered as a team, everyone would get the same amount of experience points when defeating enemies, and they could also take on high-level quests. He was having so much fun at the festival that he forgot about it. Hiro said that he didn't mind, and then thought that it had been a while since he checked his guild card. He looks at his card, where it was indicated that he has a B rank. Arnold was very surprised that the young man managed to raise to rank B. Hiro said that technically he had taken out that red spider by himself. Besides, Arnold was unconscious. The man got angry and apologized to Hiro. He asks if the boy is really happy to rank up just by using his cheat magic. Hiro says it can't be helped and then asks what rank the man is. Arnold said he was a C rank. Hiro asked if that was really true, then said he should hurry up and register a team. He called Arnold Mr. C rank. Arnold got angry. The next day, they arrived at the entrance to Grease Cave. Arnold said that this cave was the shortest route to Patient that one could dream of. But it was not that simple. Hiiro asked what was wrong. Arnold replied that there was a high probability of encountering monsters of rank B and above. The entrance was wide, but inside it was actually very cramped, so they wouldn't be able to take the birds with them. Hiiro asks if there are any other suitable shortcuts. Arnold says that of course there are, but they are all longer, and the monsters there are even stronger. So considering all the risks, this route is the most convenient for them. Hiiro replied that he didn't see any problems with this route. If he was so eager to get to Pasien, then they would just have to go through here. C. Rank should be grateful that he agreed with his plan. Arnold asked the young man to stop and not to give him any more strange titles. He then says that this is where he and the birds part ways. He thanks them for their help and asks them to give Mac and the others his best wishes. Then Hiiro interrupts and asks if the man could do something about the bird, as it was slobbering all over him. The man laughed and said that it certainly liked Hiiro. The young man asked the bird not to bother him, as he would roast it. Vi says that the bird wants to go with Hiiro, and he also says that he loves Hiiro because he smells like the sun. Hiiro did not understand what this smell was at all. However, these birds made their journey pleasant, so he gives them a parting gift and casts a charm on them. All the birds chased the female. Arnold asked what the boy had done to them, and Hiiro replied that he had written something to dispel their fatigue, but it seemed that the effect had been too strong. Then they all go into a dark cave as a team. Arnold says that their steps echo loudly in this cave, and then turns to Muir and asks the girl not to slip. Hiiro, walking along the narrow corridor, thinks that none of the birds could pass through this narrow part of the corridor. Arnold then says that they have passed a narrow part of the cave, but then he says that it seems he was hasty in his statements. Muir asks his uncle if they can pass here. In front of them was a flimsy rope bridge, where all the boards had already rotted. Hiiro said that it would not be a problem if he simply used his word magic and flew across the bridge. Arnold said that it was very cool and he was so excited about the flight. The boy asked who said that he would use his magic on a man. Arnold was surprised. Hiiro thought the problem was that if he wrote the flight symbol on all of them, what would he do if one of them fell? If the effect wore off, he could write flight on it again. But if the others were falling, he would have to write his symbols on them as they fell, which would be very difficult. Based on this, crossing the bridge will be safer. The young man turns to the boys and asks them to get ready to run. Arnold did not understand Hiiro at all. At that moment, the young man applied the symbol of connection and said that it would work. The bridge would only be stable for a minute, so it was necessary to run urgently. Arnold thought that Hiiro was making fun of them. At that moment, Vi ordered Wing to run forward. Arnold handed Muir the torch, then grabbed her and ran across the bridge, screaming. After a while, Arnold was trying to catch his breath on the hard surface. Arnold said that he just wanted to fly, and that there was something wrong with him. Hiiro ignored the man and said that they needed to move on. V replied that she was fed up with this darkness. Arnold replied that he completely agreed with V. Hiiro replied that Arnold had the torch, so he should stand in front of them. He couldn't understand how they could all be so calm. They were all just incredible. Then along the way they encountered various monsters. Hiiro used word magic and made the stone monsters soft. V wielded her spear, and Arnold a huge sword. Muir looked at her hands. Arnold then says that he finally found a way out. Hiiro sighs and says that he just wants to get to the nearest town and get something to eat. Arnold replies that he would rather take a bath. Suddenly, a rumble was heard from above. Suddenly, a huge stone snake appeared. Hiiro sighed and said that the boss was always waiting at the exit. Arnold said that it was a clay viper, an A-rank monster. The clay viper hissed and rushed straight at Hiiro's group. Hiiro and Arnold jumped up, and Vi ran next to the monster. Arnold swung his sword and used the Windfang skill. He hissed and said that the monster regenerates very quickly. Suddenly, the viper's tail pushed the man back, and he flew straight onto a sharp rock, behind which there was an abyss. V called the man by name and directed the chain towards him. He managed to grab hold and was hanging right over the cliff. He thanked Vi. Hiiro was about to use word magic, but the viper suddenly ran away. The young man said that it runs away as soon as he gets closer. He does not understand how to get it. He shouted at Arnold to get up quickly. The man apologized. At this point, Mir was watching what was happening and saying that if there was anything she could do to help them. Suddenly, Krelitic noticed something and started barking right at the girl. She turned around and asked the puppy what was wrong. Suddenly, the viper grabbed her and squeezed her in its tail. Arnold was very scared for the girl. Hiiro hissed and said that this viper has too high an intelligence level, just like the red spider. Suddenly, the snake released liquid from its mouth. The young man was able to dodge. At that moment, the snake was squeezing Muir with all its might. Hiiro asked Arnold and Vi if any of them could restrict the snake's movements. Arnold said he couldn't because his attacks might hit Muir. Vi said she couldn't either. Muir was shaking and crying at this point. She was wondering why something always happened to her. She looked at her uncle's confused face. Muir thought about how her uncle said that he must raise her to be a beautiful girl. This is his dream, so he will protect her with his life. Hiiro told her to become stronger, and the fairy queen asked her to believe in herself. Suddenly, some kind of glow appeared around the girl. She told herself that she could become stronger. Suddenly, the snake's entire body was covered with a lightning discharge. The viper was unconscious, and Arnold shouted that now was the time. He rushed straight at the snake and shouted at it to give Muir right now. He struck and cut the snake. Muir began to fall as she lost consciousness. The man caught her, but a bolt of lightning struck him. Hiiro rushed to Arnold, who somehow managed to say that he was very glad that the girl was safe. After some time, Hiiro asked Arnold if the shorty really did it. The man answered in the affirmative. He said that she had finally awakened her secret technique. Hiiro said about the secret technique and added that he knew little about it. The man removed the armor on his arm and showed a bracelet on his hand. He said that a researcher had created it to compensate for the beastmen's inability to use magic. When they really want power, this bracelet reveals their hidden abilities. The soul inside the bracelet awakens, forming a connection with the spirit. Then the bracelet is given a name, and it, in turn, pleases the user with power. The name of his bracelet is the Wind Bracelet. He was about to say the name of the bracelet mirror, but Hiiro beat him to it and said that her bracelet was called Lightning. Now he understood what the beastmen used instead of magic. Arnold asked where the young man had gone. Hiiro replied that he had gone to extract materials from the snake. He needed to rest anyway, so he suggested that the man stay here. Arnold smiles, agrees, and asks Hiiro to be careful. After some time, the young man comes to the cut body of the snake. He thinks that his whole body was burned from such a powerful force, but still, it seems that the snake has a strong resistance to magic. He remembers seeing the Wind Rupture Claw in action, and the fact that he didn't sense any magic in that technique meant that it wasn't magic at all. However, it seems that it absorbs a huge amount of energy. Suddenly, the young man feels someone's presence behind him. He turns and asks who was there. In front of him stood a beastman, similar to a huge puma. The man asked who killed this viper. He pointed at Heichiro and asks if that someone was him. At the end, the man meowed, which puzzled the protagonist a little. The man asked again and meowed again. Heichiro asked if he had any reason to tell him about this. The man was delighted and said that there were no such reasons. To tell the truth, he didn't care who killed the viper. All that mattered now was that it was just a corpse. Heichiro thought about how he was going to take this huge snake corpse. Heichiro said that he would not allow the man to take the materials from the snake. He said that he did not need the materials, so the boy could extract them. Heichiro walked towards the snake and thought that this was some strange guy and he needed to finish as soon as possible, and then get out of here. Suddenly, he felt something and threw away the torch. The man pounced on him, releasing his claws, and Heichiro managed to draw his sword. The man laughed and said that the boy had a great reaction, and now he knew that he was the one who killed that monster. Heichiro called the man a crazy cat and asked if he was really looking for a fight. Suddenly, the man punched Heichiro in the face. The boy jumped aside and sket. Heichiro then used the symbol of speed and rushed straight towards the man. He ended up behind him and then used the symbol of lightning, namely paralysis. The man absorbed the magic into his hands. Heichiro didn't understand what just happened, and the man laughed and said that the boy had passed. He must be good enough to become his assistant. Heichiro doesn't understand what this beastman is saying. The man then asks what level the boy is, to which Heichiro immediately replies that he is level 38. He thought that this man was leading him by the nose. After all, he gave information to the enemy, so he was very stupid. At this moment, the man was surprised that the youth was level 38 and so strong. He liked him even more. He says his name is Karuchi. He then asks the boy's name, but Hiiro says he can't tell. Karuchi gets scared and asks if it's possible that the boy has amnesia. He says that it is very terrible and he will take him to the doctor. The man asks him to come with him right now. Hiiro says that he was just joking. The man sighed and said that since the young man was joking, he asked him to finally tell his real name. The boy says his name is Taro Tanaka. Kuroichi says that from this day on he will work as his confidant. Hiiro thinks about how the man first calls him assistant and now confidant. Does that mean their position is based on strength alone? In general, he is most likely a soldier and going with him will get him nothing but trouble. Hiiro says that he refuses to submit to someone weaker than him. If he wants to get him so much, he must defeat him first. Kuroki said that it sounded like fun. He extended his claws and started to approach the boy, but suddenly something distracted his concentration. He asked the young man to wait for a second. He talks to himself, and then turns to Taro and suggests postponing their fight for later. He uses magic on the snake and suddenly it disappears. Hiiro is surprised that it disappeared, and then he realizes that he completely absorbed the snake in the same way as the lightning. He thought that this was Kuroichi's hidden technique. Then the man said that he wanted to take the young man with him, but he was in a hurry, so he couldn't. He was sure that they would meet again. If the boy came in this way, he must be heading to Pasinen. Hiiro says he can't tell. Karuki laughs and says he really likes the boy's audacity. He bids farewell to Taro and suggests that they meet again. Then he disappears completely into the shadows. Hiiro thought that it seemed that he had attracted the attention of someone very problematic. Once he got to Pasinen, he would have to get out of there quickly. Then he realized that he had not had time to collect materials from the Viper.